been hearing more and more about a thing called fake news.
Fake news.
I've seen people destroyed, and I think it's very unfair. Some of the media outlets that I deal with the fake news.
Fake news.
I think it's a disgrace, the absolute disgrace, but I don't think they care. Well, first of all, one of the reasons I'm here today is to tell you the whole Russian thing, that's a ruse. It's a ruse. I own nothing in Russia. I don't have any deals in Russia. Russia is fake news. I just see many, many untruthful things. The press has become so dishonest. The public doesn't believe you people anymore. You have a lower approval rate than Congress. You know, I've been hearing more and more about a thing called fake news.
Fake news.
I've seen people destroyed, and I think it's very unfair. Some of the media outlets that I deal with the fake news.
Fake news.
I think it's a disgrace, the absolute disgrace, but I don't think they care. I'll tell you something, I don't mind bad stories. I can handle a bad story better than anybody as long as it's true. But I'm not okay when it is fake. It's all fake news. I mean, it's story after story after story. We're not gonna let it happen again. The public gets it. When I go to rallies, they want to throw their placards to CNN. Here's the thing, I want to see an honest press. I want to see an honest press. I want to see an honest press. It's so important to see an honest press. I want to see an honest press. I want to see an honest press. But our nation's reporters will not tell you the truth. So I'll go over just some of them.
MSNBC.
You are fake news.
The New York Times.
You are fake news.
CBS. NBC. ABC.
BBC. LA Times.
You are fake news.
The Washington Post.
You are fake news.
CNN.
Very fake news.
Politico. AP.
HuffPo. BuzzFeed.
Failing pile of garbage. And I've been hearing more and more about a thing called fake news.
Fake news.
I've seen people destroyed, and I think it's very unfair. Some of the media outlets that I deal with the fake news.
Fake news.
I think it's a disgrace, the absolute disgrace, but I don't think they care.
Oh, good times, man. Such good times. I was just over watching Lionel Nation, and I tell you, I go there not only because I'm entertained by his show, but I take notes, man. The guy is really second to none. I'm working on this. I cleaned up the rumpus room today. And yeah, it was a freaking bloody, disgraceful wreck. And now it looks a lot better. Oh, I'm hoping I'm coming through because I had to disconnect everything, of course. Cleaned my computer for the first time 6 months that I've had it. Broke apart the Predator, Acer G6 Predator. Cleaned that baby out. Got it all ready. But before I get into some of the things that are on my mind today that are newsworthy, I'm going to talk a little bit about shadow banning. I was asked by Quiet about shadow banning, and all I'm going to do is give my 2 cents and hope that some folks out there may be more knowledgeable about the practice of shadow banning that I am. How you doing, Matt Barkley? How you doing, Luxodon? Very tough to say that. Is that right, Luxodon? Mad Dodge. It's a Sunday. The Britisher is feverishly working on the week that was. So what I'm going to do is, because he's the co-host here, I'm going to send him out a link. Send him out a link? That didn't sound right. I'm going to send him out a link. And if he shows up, you know, in the next 15 minutes or so, we'll do our thing for a little while if he needs a break. And if not, I'm going to send this out in the chat. I know I always say that. I know what you're thinking. Oh, my gracious. Over says he's going to send the chat again. So surely he's full of shit. He'll never send it out in the chat. But yeah, I really need to get Mad Dodge in here. I would like to have a few people in here that haven't been by in a while. And then when they have been by, like Conscious Caracal just showed up right at the end of a show. And I mean, I don't mean to be rude. And I used to let shows go on forever regardless. But as it stands now, I have a little schedule that I plan to stick to at the start of every show. For example, this one I started at 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock right now, a little bit early, but I had to play the theme song. That'll be the theme song for the foreseeable future. I love that fake news mashup. It's so funny. But the plan is to go until 4:30. In 2.5 hours, to me, I don't know. Sometimes it seems like a long time when I'm sitting in the chair doing this thing. Sometimes it flies by. Today, I didn't feel like doing anything. Got done cleaning the rumpus room. Felt like just firing it up, kicking back and not doing anything. Hey, ZK, how you doing? We got some folk coming in now. We really do. But instead, what I decided to do is, hey, I'm going to smoke a doobie with you all, my cyber congregation. Oh, I've been mocked for calling this church. I get mocked for a lot of things, but don't we all in this cyber world? Should I feel so special because someone made fun of me or made a video about me? No, actually, not only do I take that back, I do feel special, but how I feel is when you get a meme made about you, haven't you made it? You know, when Anita Sarkeesian calls you, hey, Admiral Necktie, good to see you. When Anita Sarkeesian calls you a garbage human being, isn't that a sign that you've arrived? Isn't that bragging rights? Let me put it that way. Isn't that bragging rights? Can't Sargon now at this point say, well, I can check that off the list? Anita Sarkeesian, as I sit there minding my own bloody business, going to I believe it was on cyberbullying of all things. I get not cyberbullied, but literally bullied by this raving lunatic. I would like to find a better way to describe Sarkeesian than that, and I'm not going to call her garbage. Listen, folks, the British and I talk a lot, and I talk with a lot of people, excuse me, and I take a lot of advice into consideration. And one of the pieces of advice that I'm going to take is to try to refrain from calling people outright names. Ad hominems are a coward's way out. So, hey, look, I got to say this about Miss Sarkeesian. She's a piece of work. She's something else. It's amazing to me how often in life it works this way. Not do as I say, not as I do, but do what I say as if it was the voice of God speaking to you from on high, as Moses of old was spoken to from the burning bush. Give me a break. And who elected this person as any kind of moral arbiter in life? And before I just go off the rails and get right into things of this nature, I want to talk to y'all about something. Let me light this up real quick. Y'all, can I just have 3 seconds of silence while I light this, please? Everybody here knows how much I hate dead air. It is the bane of live streamers the world over. But does everybody here know what a mojo is? To have your mojo. I got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. Does everybody know what a mojo is? Sometimes you can lose your mojo. And let me explain what that means. So you're a drummer in a band, as I've been, and you get ready to go and just tear it up. And every other night that for the last year, you could just feel this spark of energy. When you got back behind your drum set, you found yourself doing things that you could never even pull off in the practice room. And then one day you show up to play your gig and the beer tastes like ash and the marijuana just doesn't taste good and the slaps on the back don't feel so friendly. And you get up there and not only can't you do the amazing things that you were doing the week before that you couldn't do in the practice room, but you can't even seem to get off your daggone licks just like you're supposed to. You can't fall in the pocket. Oh, the Movado's in the shop. I had to have the battery changed, and then about every couple years, a very old watch for Movado standards, every couple years I have the internal parts cleaned. So nope, don't have the Movado on today. In fact, I have no jewelry on today. It's just the ogre and his nakedness with his old preacher shirt on. So back to the mojo. So you're there now, playing the gig. Slaps on the back aren't working. The thinking weed ain't doing nothing for you. You don't feel like having a beer. If you do, it doesn't, it's not doing it. you get back and you start fumbling and bumbling. And it doesn't matter if you're a drummer, if you're a stockbroker, or if you're a home care professional, or if you're a doctor, lawyer, merchant, chief, rich man, poor man, beggar man, or thief. Doesn't matter. Your mojo's just gone. I'm going to tell y'all something. I've got no remedy for that. But there is only one thing that works. You got to just push forward. If you found it once, you can find it again. If you were able to get that spark that allowed you to be a better salesman, a better caregiver, a better banker, a better car salesman, whatever it is that you may be, if you found that spark once, you can find it again. And as sure as I'm sitting here right now in beautiful, cool northern Michigan, you are the reason for that spark in the beginning. It wasn't the beers. It wasn't the marijuana. It wasn't the slaps on the back. It wasn't even your bonus for having great sales last month. It was none of those things. The way you first got your mojo was by feeling that you could accomplish whatever you set your mind to. That's me, folks. That's you. There's nothing in this wide world, and we all hear, oh, America's the land of opportunities. Of course it is. But the world is the land of opportunities. There are rags to riches stories that come out of Haiti, that come out of, I mean, you can name it. I could start naming countries, but if I do, everybody, you know, I don't want everyone to think, oh, he's picking out these people and saying they're terrible. It'd be hard to make it. But there are India, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Georgia, all of these places. There are rags to riches stories. They're not in the land of opportunity, but they did find their mojo. They were able to find that spark that lit their internal fire and led them to victory and success. And let me say, for some people finding their mojo, what victory and success may look like for myself, for the folks gathered together here. Hey, Willem, good to see you. Oh, he's the one that said Movado. For the folks gathered here, it may look different. So I may look at somebody that has a job at 7-Eleven, can pay their rent, has a nice Xbox or a PlayStation or whatever their gaming platform of choice may be, and they make enough to buy their Mountain Dew, their Fritos, pay their rent, have food in the fridge, and play their video games when they get off work. That's a success. There are some successes that, it hurts me to say this, that may live in mom and dad's basement and don't even have to pay the rent, but have these other things. But they have their mojo. If you can get your mojo working, you can accomplish anything, folks. I could have very easily just said to myself, you know, it's Sunday and it's only the Sunday service, and right now, I'm stumbling a little bit on our guest tomorrow. We will be firing Police State back up. I do believe that Sevi Rose will be on for a segment. But, you know, Count Dankula is working these 16 hours, and I'm pretty fixed on something when I want it. And I want to have Count Dankula on to give us an update, and other people too. But with VidCon and the whole 9 yards, it just wasn't working out. So I could have very easily just sat here and said, it's a Sunday show, and who knows what's going to happen with Police State tomorrow. But what am I doing? I'm pissing all over my own mojo. I'm taking the fire out before it's even got kindled. Don't do that to yourself. I shouldn't do that to myself. I'm guilty of it. I do it. I've done it. But don't we have enough problems in life? Isn't there enough ill will toward us gathered here today? Can't you think back this week and realize, yep, that person was definitely trying to derail my mojo. They were trying to take my mojo out of the situation. If we have that kind of problems with everyday people that we run into, then let's not take it from ourselves. There's nothing anyone can do. Hey, the finer print's in here. And like I said, finer print, Mad Dodge, I don't know if y'all were listening, but I'm just giving the Britisher a little bit of time. We were talking earlier, but he is furiously doing the week that was right now. I can guarantee you. I sent him a link. He probably needs a little break, but is he going to take it? I wouldn't bet on it either way. Sometimes you'll just swing by on a Sunday, but chances are he is just doing voiceover work, writing scripts, and blistering his fingers into a bloody mess on his keyboard right now, doing all the work that he needs to do to bring me what is my favorite news source right now. In fact, it was Lionel Nation was on a chat with him. Britisher was watching. He wasn't in the chat room. He was watching on his TV through some device. I don't have television, so I don't know. I only have computer. And, you know, we were listening to Lionel, and some people can't stop something once they start. And that could be the Britishers' mojo. So anyway, I was going to go somewhere, and I best not. I tease my good friend a lot, and he's very good for taking it. But I'm a jerk if I just go on with the teasing and assume that I could do that forever, and that, you know, he would always understand. That said, he busts my balls a fair amount also. So your mojo, let me wrap this up. Only you can take it away from yourself. Winston Churchill's the one that said, offense can never be given, only taken. So I'll wrap it up too, believe me, at the end of the service here today. But I'm going to start the service by saying, take control of everything that comes into your life. If you feel bad about something, well, take some time to feel bad about it. Don't stifle those feelings. If you feel, you know, sad, angry, any of those things. But as quickly as you can, sort those feelings out. Compartmentalize them in your mind. Put them in their right boxes for further examination later, and get right back to the task of the day, which every day should be, what am I going to do today for me, for Matt, for the finer print, for Mad Dodge? What am I going to do today for Admiral Necktie? What am I going to do for RPR? And don't get me wrong, our RPR is just getting in from spending some time with his son. Admirable. But how can we take care of our sons and daughters, RPR, or anyone else, if we don't take care of ourselves? It is the most important job we have. And I don't care about how often, if people pat you on the back a lot, guess what? They're not your friends. Hate to say it. I know that I'm a little flowery, but believe me, people that work with me will let you know it's the truth. I like to put on a good face in public. I don't like to berate people or be berated. But behind the scenes, man, I tell you, no one is. If you look at my channel now, you'll notice that the channel art is changing. The thumbnails are changing. That wasn't my doing. I'm not going to take credit for that. The Britisher made me those thumbnails, gave me the idea for it, and then said something to the effect of, "Really, Mr. Ogre? You expect to have Lionel Nation on your show, sir? It'll be years before you get him on with that sloppy thumbnail action you have, friend. Posh, for sure you'll use the thumbnail I've come up with." And, you know, I put it on, and it looks much slicker, looks much better. But I'm the jackass that just brought that up in public. You know, he don't say these things. So the point being, don't let anyone take your mojo. Be the master of your own destiny. And before you say, what are you going to do for mom, for dad, for the children, for your wife, for your uncle, for anybody else, ask yourself, what am I going to do today for me? That's you, constant viewer, for you. How will I make my life better? And please, goodness, that's not me telling you to go get a fifth of whiskey or anything like that. Betterment, to improve, self-improvement. And it makes me think of Fight Club, where he said self-improvement is masturbation, is mental masturbation. I don't necessarily agree with that. So listen, folks, something came up today. I'm going to cover a couple things, and I don't know. I'm just going to be brave. I'm going to put on my big ogre pants right now, and I'm going to send this baby right out in the chat so I don't have to go and look up Definer Print and Mad Dodge and everybody else that may want to come in. And we can discuss this insanity that I see. Isn't today Gay Pride Day? Is that the case? Is it Gay Pride Day? And if not, I know they're having Gay Pride parades and walks and whatnot around the world. I've seen RPR said, I believe he was speaking to, well, you said it on Twitter, so I don't think it's a secret, but I believe he was trying to explain to his young son what the hell's going on with this gay pride thing. And I go back to what Lionel was saying. Listen, gay pride, we'll get into that here in just a second. But gay pride, how can you be proud of something that these folks are constantly saying that they were born with? Let me get my headphones on and you say hi to everybody. How you doing, ZK? It's great to have you on. I'm not sure, have you ever been on the show before?
This is actually my first time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's good to see your face and good to have you on. Let me get my headphones on. And that way, whenever I'm speaking, I won't be blasting everybody out. I may have to look for them. I just cleaned up the rumpus. Just give me a couple seconds. Tell everybody who you are if that don't make you feel uncomfortable. Hell, do it anyway.
Hey, everybody. I'm Zure Kitsune. Call me ZK, I guess. I've been watching Ogre since he did the Sargon live stream. I think it was in January. And I've seen every stream since. I'm sorry, I can't see any of the chat though. I'm kind of on my phone right now because my laptop's not currently.
Don't worry about that. They're there. If something comes up and somebody asks you something, I'll let you know. Don't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I appreciate you being here too. Sargon sent a lot of great people by. What you just said was very humbling. I'm glad to have you. So what's going on? Why is it that you come by this stream? Is it just to see what I do that's stupid next?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, first off, it started with how you and Sargon were getting on. It was I just thought, like, wow, this guy's really intellectual. I'll be honest, I didn't even think you would be like super intellectual at the point, but yeah, you definitely proved me wrong in the first stream I've ever watched of you. I think that, like, honestly, it feels really weird actually talking to you in person. Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. This is like my first live stream. We're even showing up and talking to people. I'm sorry, I'm nothing but dead air at the moment.
I mean, that's great. I'm almost ready now. I wasn't sure what I was going to do today, ZK. I kind of planned on maybe not even doing anything, but man, I've been slacking off doing my service on Sunday, and that's how it starts with me. If I start to neglect one thing, well, pretty soon I neglect another, and then pretty soon you see me just very rarely. And I enjoy this, man. I really get a kick out of it. I do appreciate what you said too. I'm not all that intellectual. What I am is a human being with so much time on my hands doing mundane things, you know, that don't take a lot of, like shoveling chicken shit, for example, or weeding the garden. And when you're doing those things, it gives you a lot of time to think. And so that's basically what I do. I think about, you know, what I've seen in the news, what I've talked to people over on Twitter and whatnot. And I wanted to talk about this gay pride thing. Maybe not the way you think. I mean, I have no problem with gay people. I just noticed that if I'm not just shifting gears too fast for you, ZK, that the Istanbul police are enforcing a ban on gay and transgendered pride march in Istanbul. Have you seen anything about that?
No, I haven't actually. I've been more focused on the Canadian thing, like how Black Lives Matter is interrupting the gay pride marches and all that.
Yeah, well, and they may, but here this is the point that I'm going to make very quickly. When I look at this story and I see in Istanbul, which is in Turkey, the Turkish police deployed in central Istanbul on Sunday to enforce a ban on the city's annual gay and transgendered pride march, blocking off a main street and dispersing groups of demonstrators who gathered nearby. And yeah, I could go through this entire story, but I wonder to myself, ZK, I don't know if you're gay, if you're straight. I don't really know. I don't want to assume anything, but it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is in this country, you would have all of the freedom that you would ever want, and some special treatment. One would, I won't say you, one would, myself, anyone. If they were gay or transgender, they would have all of the freedoms they want. And yet there is still this cry, this protest for rights, for recognition. I wonder how many of these activists will be involved with the demonstration against the Turkish police at this point.
I honestly doubt anybody on the left is going to be against Turkey because of, I think it was recently they were elected the UN's ambassador to women or something like that, or women's rights. Like honestly, I honestly think that like anybody who's pro-EU will be pro-Turkey in Istanbul and try to deny the fact that they're banning gay and transgender pride marching.
Well, it's a form of hypocrisy to me, because this is the same group. The left is the same group that would say, oh, Islam is a religion of peace. They love everybody. They don't hi, me too. They don't do anything wrong. We've got to, you know, accept them for what they are. But shouldn't, because this is because of Islam. Let's face it. That's why they're having this ban. And even if not, the Turkish government there's a lot of Muslims in that country. When will we finally see people stop saying that random politicians are transphobic, homophobic, racist, and everything else, and finally stand up against the real oppression that's going on in the world, if that makes sense?
Not entirely sure. I think like these people are to the point of almost no return. There may be a few to be able to save, but I think a large sum of them are actually relatively regressive, to the point of like they will deny any existence of homophobia in Islam or what is it, misogyny, I guess.
Yeah, well, misogyny in Islam is basically the same thing. I was just watching, I'm trying to think of who made the little clip. It was 10 movies that couldn't be made today. I want to say Gavin McGinnis, but one of the, or it might have been Steven Crowder, but one of the things that they pointed out, it was Steven Crowder, was a movie called Not Without My Child, or Not Without My Daughter. And it was a movie about a lady that was married to a Middle Easterner. I can't remember the country. I want to say it doesn't really matter. It was a Muslim country, and just couldn't, the person kept the daughter, and there was scenes in there of the guy beating her up and all this stuff. Misogyny and Islam are synonymous.
Well, I guess it depends on what the sect is. Oh, hey, Brent. I guess it would depend on the sect of Islam, right? Like,
Well,
I'm
yes.
fairly certain, like, I'm not sure which sect it is, but I know that they're relatively moderate and a little more modern and more accepting of the Western world. To the point of they won't go and blow people up. They honestly don't give a shit about our way of life, but they won't try to harass us or bring us into theirs.
Yeah, I want to say maybe the finer print knows. I'm going to say it's either the Sunnis or the Shia. There's all kinds of sects. But
Yeah.
what the problem that I have is throughout Islam, just the question of suicide bombings and whatnot. Yeah, there is a large percentage of them. The percentage is not in my head right now, that say, no, we don't think it's, we wouldn't do it. I'm sorry. But there's 85 to 90% of all 2 billion Muslims in the world that say we're okay with it happening, though. And I would say this goes to the question of, oh man, I hate to use homophobia. This goes to persecuting women and homosexuals also, people that drink alcohol. I mean, it's just like asking, asking a Catholic if they think the Pope has any authority. They're going to say yes.
Yeah. Although, I'm sorry, I just want to see what Brent has to say. Is he muted?
Me too. If you're there, finer print.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was in another window.
No worries, but you probably also know more about this than either one of us speaking.
Mm-hmm.
am I wrong to look at this story in Istanbul where they're putting an end and saying, well, being hard on homosexuals and being misogynistic, being patriarchal is pretty much what Islam is about across the board?
Well, Turkey for the longest time has been a very secular nation, and it's only since recently that it has actually been fairly heavily Islamicized by Erdogan. So it's difficult, for me to say, that this is unpredictable about, what's been going on there. Not just recently, but over the course of the past few years. You've been seeing a lot more of a move towards more conservative kind of point of view from the government, which you've never seen before. Turkey used to be a secular state. It was a secular country. And very, very slowly it has become more Islamicized. So that's what you're seeing nowadays.
And you put that on Erdogan. I've not heard good things about that man. I don't follow it much, but
no, he's a total authoritarian, and he's been pushing a very radical, maybe not radical, but very conservative Islamic agenda. Very gradually, very slowly, very nuanced, if you will. But he has been doing it, and you're seeing the consequences of that. And that's the biggest problem coming out of Turkey right now.
So I don't want to pin you down too much, but I do believe that ZK probably feels the same way, because I made some serious statements. Do you think that I'm wrong to say that misogyny, patriarchal society, oppressing gays, people that drink alcohol, that all of that stuff across the board is hand in hand and synonymous with Islam?
Well, it's in their holy book. I mean, if you just look at the Quran, you have verses. The Quran in itself is a manuscript on how to live your life as a Muslim. It tells you how to eat. It tells you how to bathe. It tells you how to wash your clothes. It tells you how to live your life from a legal standpoint against the state. And at the end of the day, when you look at certain verses of the Quran, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but very, very strict adherence against homosexuals, against women having an elevated class other than second-class citizen, if you will. It's there. But you'll have Muslims that will try to deflect from that and saying, oh, you don't know how to read that, or you don't know how to interpret that correctly. So that's the biggest problem, I think. And that's why I like Imam Tawhidi, who's been making the rounds on Twitter and YouTube lately, saying, you know what? Our critics are absolutely 100% correct, and we need to reform Islam the same way that Judaism and Christianity has been reformed. So,
oh man, please, Imam Tawhidi, because I wasn't aware of any Imam. If I could hear an Imam preach that kind of thing, if you knew what kind of joy that would give this old Jew boy, man. So if you have a link to that person, or could spell his name in the side, I will send it out to the main room, or send it out to the main room. I'm sure you're a moderator. And I see that you're not directly answering the question. I think because maybe I'm too overarching with a statement like that.
What exactly is your question? I mean,
well, it's not a question. It's a question of my statement. I want to question my statement as ZK already has. Am I correct in seeing Islam as people that hold fast to, and yes, you said their holy book, I understand, but I could grab my Bible right now and start reading you verses on how to clean, circumcision because of cleanliness, all of these things, what to do with homosexuals, what to do with people that see their mother naked, what to do with people that have sex with animals, all of these things. But we have had this Reformation, Luther, Zwingli, Huss, Jerome, we've had this Reformation, people were burned at the stake for it, and now the Catholic Church and the evil ones that were in control of Christianity for so long no longer have their thumb on it, making it this evil thing. We can actually look to our prophet, Jesus Christ, and say, nah, man, he said all that stuff was done, and that now it's time to realize that love in our hearts for others. So without belaboring too much, am I wrong to believe the hype that I read when I see that 85 to 90% of people that follow Islam, that follow the Quran, even if they wouldn't participate in a suicide bombing, think it's just fine if someone goes into Tel Aviv, into some pizza parlor, and blows himself up, or at a bus stop somewhere, you know, in Israel? That's all. That's my question. And also,
No,
yeah, go ahead.
I understand your question, but I just don't think that it's that black and white. And, you know, not to be a hashtag not all, but hashtag not all. You know, yeah, when you poll them about certain questions, they will most likely answer 85 to 90% of the time, or 85 to 90% of the population in the affirmative. Yes. Whether they will personally go out and do it, I don't think so. Whether they'll personally, you know, assist someone to do it, I don't think so. I don't see it based on my experience in my life in Israel. For the most part, let's put it this way: the majority of the Palestinian population does not actually engage in terrorist activity. It's a very small minority, like like Hamas or the Palestinian Authority or the PLO. It's always a minority.
PLA, all those you just mentioned, some good oldie but goodies, man.
Yep.
So let me just get down to brass tacks, because I know a couple people that are American that lived in Jerusalem and in Damascus anyway, and I also know, you know, some Jewish folks that lived in, some Israelis. On your day-to-day in the Holy Land, in Israel, in the mother country, did you find that could you have a conversation with your average Muslim, be it man or woman, about whatever, like we're talking now, minus the Islam thing?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that. How would an interaction be at the coffee shop? If, you know, how would that be?
It would be just like you and me sitting here talking right now. They're not, you know, they don't have cloven hooves and horns on their heads. That's us, the Jews. You know, they're just normal people. You know, I mean, after an event has happened, like I'll give you an example just based on my history and my life. There was an attack in my home city, and I think it was about 7 people dead, about 50 people injured. And the day after, I met a friend of mine who's Arab. He's Muslim. He's not a Palestinian. He actually lives in Israel. He has the same ID card. And he just came over to me. He gave me a hug. He said, "Bro, I'm so sorry. I'm ashamed to be a Muslim today."
That happened to you in Israel? In
Israel, yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, actually. I didn't think that kind of thing would ever have happened.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, they're just like people. They're people like everybody else.
Well, man, I think I've grilled you hard on this.
No, it's fine.
Did you hear what we were talking about earlier about this thing that's going on in Turkey, where they're
I glanced over the headline. I didn't really hear the conversation earlier, so I don't know 100% what you're talking about. So forgive me.
Oh, no, man, I'm so glad you're here. So unless ZK has a follow-up on what we were speaking of, because you heard him, ZK, and you said it, you called me intellectual, so now I got to be cool, right? I mean, it's hard for me to believe the hype, too. It really is. It's honestly hard for me to believe that 85 to 90% of Muslims think it's okay that some jackass stabbed a retired police officer in the neck at frickin' Flint Bishop Airport. It's hard for me to believe that. And so whenever I hear an anecdote that concerns a Jewish brother in Israel being hugged by a Muslim and saying, "Hey, man, today I'm not happy to follow the Quran and to be a lover of the Prophet Muhammad because of what it's done to your people," that actually makes my day, and it lets me realize that we are all just human beings. One of my relatives has a little store in Tehran and has for years. It's passed down now from the original person that opened it. I'm not going to mention the name, but lives in Tehran, Iran. And man, they sell booze. They sell pretty much like Playboy books, nothing really hardcore. But then they have a little shop, but that's their main sellers. And they live next to and the Muslims know what they're doing because they go there and buy the stuff from them. And, you know, my cousin always tells me it's not what you really think it is, Ogre. You're believing too much of what you read because some entity and some force does not want us to love each other. Wow, that got crazy, didn't it?
I always thought of the world not as black and white, but just millions upon millions of shades of gray. To the point of, like, you just have to know when the shade gets darker. That's all.
Yep, that's right.
She has a damn good point. So I guess then, bam, bounce off of that. I tell you, I talked about losing my mojo, and it's not like I lost my mojo, but today my mojo is somewhere a couple steps behind me. Wasn't even going to do this, but I've been neglecting the Sunday service for a while, the finer print, and you know what? The more you neglect something, pretty soon you quit doing it. And you know, there's a handful of people watching right now that maybe they enjoy this, and maybe it's something that they look forward to. So I do have a certain responsibility. That's why I'm here. And the mojo's catching up, by the way. It's catching up. By the end of it, I'll smoke another couple doobies and it'll be fine. When are we going to see folks that want to cry about people not wanting grown adults of a different sex in the bathroom with their children, and then picketing and getting people ruining business over not selling pizzas and cakes to certain folk and all this other stuff? When are we going to see them get on a 747 and fly over to Turkey and start saying, no, we stand with them, they need to have their gay pride parade? Or are they just all hypocrites? That was leading as hell.
Zuru, you want to take that?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking, like, there's gonna be quite a few people that are just gonna end up ignoring the actual problem and just constantly berate anybody who's to the right of Ellen DeGeneres as being homophobic or being transphobic or being Islamophobic for just calling it out. But for the most part, I think I feel like there may be quite a few that may end up seeing our side of the situation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, for lack of a better term.
No, I mean, I think I don't know if it's Sargon who coined it or somebody else, but champagne socialists or champagne activists is what you get. Is, you know, they're very happy to point the finger at you for manspreading, but if you tell them to go to Saudi Arabia and handle female genital mutilation there, or go to Turkey and help them set up their gay pride parade, they'll be like, oh, what? Huh? What are you talking about? That doesn't exist.
Yeah, they'll completely deny the actual stories just so they'd be able to fit their own narrative.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Steve Shives would go on YouTube and call people like us Islamophobic for saying that people in Istanbul can't have a pride parade.
Yeah, when we have the article here.
The one that
he probably will.
And take a peek in the side chat if you can find a print.
Yeah, I can take over for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't going to say it out loud because I don't want to put nobody on the spot. I just got to go and take care of a couple things, man. And I don't want to just play a song since you two are here. You're more than capable of doing this. I got to have you do like Dop did one day and just come and guest host, man. You're better than I am.
Yeah, no, please. It's fine. Go shovel some chicken shit. So, Kitsune, do you speak any Japanese?
A little bit.
Okay, cool.
I'm still learning.
Cool.
Nothing, no like large sentences, just as it comes.
Okay, slowly but surely. Hey, Cass S in the chat there asking me what I think about Saudis trying to shut down Al Jazeera. I think it's stupid. I think that it's a specious request and demand from Qatar. I really don't see what it accomplishes other than them shutting them down. They have various different branches and various different bureaus all over the world, and they create news. Sometimes it's decent news. Sometimes it's decent programming. I don't see a reason to shut it down.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm pretty much siding with Free Press here. I think they have every right to shoot out their own narrative if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's some of the demands that they made from Qatar were I don't want to say reasonable, but they kind of made me smile and go, yeah, they need to do that. But other demands that they made there were like, huh? What? Are you serious right now?
I'm sorry, I'm not fully up to date on this story.
I think somebody on Twitter posted a translated, very abridged version of the demands, but basically they were asking Qatar a bunch of different, like 13 demands. Let me see if I can Google that. Demands from Qatar. Let's see. Are told by Arab State Al Jazeera report says, let's see, shut down Al Jazeera, halt the development of a Turkish military base in the country, reduce diplomatic ties with Iran, that's perfectly reasonable, cut ties to extremist organizations, stop interfering with these 4 countries' affairs. I think that's the 4 countries that made the demands. I think it was Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Egypt. Sorry. Stop the practice of giving Qatari nationality to citizens of the 4 countries. I think that speaks to the enforced slavery that they have there. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's in order for them to lift the travel ban and lift the sanctions off of them. So that's what I'm talking about here.
I'm trying to remember. It wasn't too long ago that they ended up having to do like a lot of these forced everything's down in the Middle East. They started fighting it down in Pakistan to the point of they even had to create a law saying children cannot change their religion until they're 18, just to avoid forced child marriages.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen right now. I don't know if everybody can see it, but that's the hang on, let me see if I can get there to scroll. But that's the article from CNN. Can you see it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So here's some key demands, and now they're studying it. They confirmed it on Friday. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, Cass, that's was it Cass that asked me that? Yeah. That's where I stand, and I think Kitsune agrees with me. Free press should remain free. However, and there's a caveat to that. I think that their demand should be that Al Jazeera can no longer be a state-sponsored news organization. It has to be a privatized organization.
That sounds fair. Where it's not being pushed by the government machine,
Exactly.
rather than the public can choose.
Then how about BBC or RT or any of those?
Well, the BBC public service has been operating for years. It's not state-run; it's tax-funded. It's the people, the citizenry, are paying for that. In Qatar, I don't know about RT, but in Qatar, the government pays for everything, not the taxes, but it's paid off from probably oil money to fund that state-sponsored news organization, which in turn pushes that government's agenda and narrative, which is what you get when you watch Al Jazeera.
Okay, I can't argue with that. It's just hard because here's what I believe: the CBC, the BBC, RT. I mean, really, there shouldn't be. I don't like it when you have Goebbels in charge. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it. So I do like privatization of news organizations, but I guess to play devil's advocate, then what you have is Reuters, and you have the Rothschilds, and you have Disney, and the 3 controlling everything we hear anyway. I guess I don't really know, but when I hear that stop Al Jazeera, the finer print, with respect, I watch Al Jazeera. Some of their stuff is really good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what we were talking about while you were
Okay,
away.
sorry, I just walked in. I think I might have walked into a doorknob on that.
No, that's all right. Basically, what I was saying is that I think that Al Jazeera, instead of the demands that the Saudis made with the other 3 countries, which is to completely shut it down, I say no, privatize it, make it a business for profit that is not run and funded by the government. Right now, as it stands, it's run by the government, and that's the problem because it spreads propaganda and hate.
So that only goes back to a very quick question, but you don't think that the BBC, the CBC, or any of these other national broadcasting systems should be privatized?
Again, the BBC is not, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, it's not funded by the government, it's funded by taxpayer money, and that's not the same thing.
But the government only has money that the government doesn't have anything. Everything it has, it takes from tariffs, taxes, and whatnot. So yes, you're correct, but it is state run and state sanctioned, and you do eventually answer. I wish the British was here now. No, you know what? I'm not even going to comment on this because I don't know enough about it to comment right now.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, you know, from where I stand, having a state-run television station can have its benefits, and it can have its pitfalls. One of the many pitfalls is that they will sometimes not show certain shows or programs because they just don't deem it to be fit for consumption by the general public. So that's a problem right there. But with the BBC, and again, I could be wrong, I think that the audience votes their will on the BBC. They get to. And Cass just join in. Can you just maybe enlighten us more about how the BBC operates?
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You're kind of right. The thing is, the BBC, they have what's called a governor. Okay. The governor is appointed by the government of the UK. So essentially, the Conservative government will favour, you know, a director who's more towards their political point of view. Whereas if the government was to fall, the Conservative government was to fall to Jeremy Corbyn, he would obviously want to appoint a more left-leaning director of the BBC. So it's not technically state-funded, but it is state-funded. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I almost want to press him. Just a wee bit. Oh man, we got another great Britisher in here too. RPR. Do you folks, you British folks, since we have you here, believe that the BBC is in any way manipulated or dictated to by the government?
No, I would say it was the opposite way around. They're the ones dictating to the government because they've, you know, if as being a British citizen, if you do not pay your TV license, you will go to court.
Hang on now, you mean any citizen?
You own a television and you do not have a TV license, if you will go to court.
Oh Lord, I didn't even know there was a such thing. So if you buy a television set and plug it in and start watching Channel 4, you don't have your license, how much is a licensure?
The license, it's about £115 a year.
Oh, okay. So that is equivalent to what Sleek the Geek and I were talking about. I'm looking to get a license to allow me to play music like a bartender, like a bar owner would, so that I can play a lot more songs in the song service. That's why it's a little bit on hold right now. So you're telling me, okay, that blows my mind, and it also makes a very strong case for it's not the taxes, it is a licensure, and if you want to be part of the of getting the stream of information from the BBC or entertainment from the BBC, well, you have to pay for it. I'm going to tell you the truth. Most Americans would probably disagree with me, but that sounds like a good thing. Is that a good thing?
Well, not really, because there's a lot of us out there are not happy with the content that the BBC are producing. And of course, we have got to pay our licenses in order to watch the other channels. And it's really only funding the BBC. Other channels are self-funding.
Yeah, just come in. The BBC, for those of you who don't know, is similar to like a sort of MSNBC sort of style channel. It has really left-wing leaning views, and it will employ left-leaning people. It employs strictly from university backgrounds. So in other words, if you haven't got a university background, bye-bye, you're not getting into the BBC. There also was, I think it still is, a sort of a gay, a homosexual clique with the BBC. The top hierarchy is known to be homosexual. So again, they tend to favour homosexuals. It's a known thing, but again, it's never talked about because it's, you know, it's not PC.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but wasn't it a while ago they started denying white people jobs, wasn't it? Or like they refused white people to be hired for certain jobs, wasn't it?
No, not quite refusing, but they did. What they did was they would promote non-whites ahead of a white individual for if the role was the same. If essentially you had two roles that were the same, they would promote the what they call the ethnic background ahead of a white individual.
Oh, and by the way, Cass S, if I don't say this, and I forgot last time, the Britisher did do some looking into, and this is kind of off topic. It is off topic, but I just got to make this disclaimer on air. I told the Britisher I wouldn't. I didn't last time. But you mentioned something about over 50% of people in London not being born in England. And that is what he showed me, unless you can show me another article, it was over 50% were non-white. And yeah.
No.
Well, no, and you can say no all you want, but he did send me the actual evidence.
Well,
and
I sent it in the chat as well. I sent the actual census.
I'm so sorry then, brother. If you could do that for me again, because I love all ideas, and I just want to show him.
It wasn't 50%. Essentially, what we were saying was that non-white. It was a response to AlphaGo saying that there was 50%. Essentially, the official census shows there's 34%. Okay, now that's only the official census, but there's a disclaimer in the census to say that it does not include illegal immigrants. It doesn't include anyone illegal. That was the thing. It wasn't white, black, anything like that. It was essentially like but I'll get you the link anyway.
Okay, and if you can, if not, I will do my own digging. But after he showed me, you know, what he was referring to, which was just showing that over 50% would be not white. You know, but then I think about John Cleese, and you know, he has a great quote that he's like, I'm going to paraphrase it, but he said, well, when you walk down the high street, you know, in the place where you were born, and you're English, obviously, if you're John Cleese, and you look around and there's no English people, you have to ask yourself, you know, what's going on? And English folks, I believe that the two Englishmen here, the Welshman and the Englishman here, would say that to be a Britisher, you have to be a Britisher. It would not make a difference if you were black or Indian or whatever color of your skin. And also, I would say good luck going up, because I know a few, good luck going up to a Britisher, which I've made the mistake just because we have this ingrained and saying, oh, you're African-American. A, they're not American. They don't like that shit. And B, they don't want fucking the African English. They would punch you in the mouth if you said that too many times. They don't go for that. And by they, I mean colored folks from England. They don't consider themselves that. It's a very unique place from my viewpoint. And that, man, does race play a big part in England? It doesn't seem to.
You could again, you can just use your eyes and visualize it. I mean, you've only got to look at this recent this Grenfell Tower, the fire in the tower block, and look at the victims of that, and show me, you know, where they're from. Do they look British to you? Do they look English to you? Certainly don't to me. You see, the problem with the Britishers' point of view is, technically speaking, if I was Prime Minister, I could give a passport out to anyone that enters the country, and they instantly become British. Does that make them British?
No.
No, not to me. It doesn't either. See, this is what Tony Blair essentially did. All the immigrants that came in, he just literally gave them all passports. threw them out. I know French people that have got passports. I know Polish people that have got passports. I know countless amount of Pakistanis that have got passports. None of them should have passports because they're not British, but they've all been given them like confetti at a wedding, mate.
So you're saying, but that's a different anomaly than what's happening here. So you're saying in your country you have Polish and all these people that they got a passport that says they're British, but they're really Polish and French and Pakistani. See, here you will get a carte blanche, man, if you're from south of the border, Honduras, Venezuela. I don't care. I could go on and name 50 countries from south of the border, Mexico, of course. Well, then it's undocumented. But you can't be British or Canadian or Polish or none of the things you mentioned. Then you're illegal. And once your visa's up, you go. But apparently, and then this is according to what you're telling me, that there is something going on there now that says once you have a passport, and no, sir, once you have a passport, you're British. If that's the case, can I, RPR, Cass S, can I just go to England right now and be like, I'm fucking British because I kind of dig your country. I wouldn't mind moving there. And then that's it. I'm just there. Go on the dole, go on the public dole.
You would have to play the game. Essentially, you would have to play the game. So, for example, someone from Pakistan, let's say a guy from Pakistan wants to come to England. He's got no right to come to England whatsoever. What he will do is he will speak to cousins, to uncles, to aunties, and try and get what's called a visa sponsor. Basically, he'll try and get married. Engaged to some Pakistani woman living in England, okay, and that happens a lot. Essentially, once he does that, he's sort of bonded to that family, and then it goes on, and then obviously once he's in, he can then bring his family in. He can bring mum, he can bring dad, he can bring all sorts of people in, grandma, granddad, dog, cat, anything he wants to, he can bring in, and they automatically become British. You see, so that's why you've had this exponential growth. The British can't understand. British can't get his head around it because he doesn't live where I grew up in. I've seen where I grew up in just change, into a crazy way. There's literally no English people there.
Yeah, I think he lives in an underground base somewhere in Scandinavia. He's not clear with me on that. So yes, you're correct. I don't think that you're in the same place.
I think
and maybe I can't see his point of view on some of these things myself. I'm not going to go into a bashing session on my mate when he's not here, but I do feel a certain amount of alarm for your country right now that's so inclusive, man. I mean, such a more you eat chutney with your lunch, don't you, sir? That's not British. Y'all, I mean, you go to India, they play cricket. They're more into cricket than y'all are. Your country is all about a blending. Don't come and be a rabble rouser now, but if you got some good curry, we're going to have the curry mile. You know what I mean? And you're going to be more than welcome here. But there is something else going on. What I need your help with to understand is you're saying it's everybody. It's not just Middle Easterners, damn near anybody. Let's leave off sponsorship because you were saying, please explain to me more. Help me understand the passport thing. Someone can come there and get a passport and then be British. Tell me how that works.
Okay, so essentially, you're Mr. Oga. Okay, you're Romanian. All right, you're Romanian. You're part of the European Economic Community. That gives you free right of travel to the UK. So you come to England. Okay, now you've got no job, you've got nothing. All right, but you've got a wife and you've got 2 children. Okay, we're with me so far. So you've come to England, you've got your wife, you've got your 2 children. The first thing you do is you go to the council and you say, hello, I'm come from Romania, I've got no money, I've got a wife and 2 children, I need a house. Okay, the council will then put you in what's called emergency housing. All right, so that's your foot in the door. Now, once you've got your emergency housing, you then say, this emergency housing is too small for me and my family, and you need a bigger housing. Okay, so in probably about 3-4 months, the council will then say, oh, look, we've got this house for you, Mr. Oga. So you and your Romanian wife and 2 children can get this house. Meanwhile, you're using the British health system, you're using the British school system, you're getting free food in the way of vouchers, you're getting free accommodation, you're getting free clothing. Okay, you're not paying for anything. Okay, so now you've been moved out of your emergency housing and you've got a nice semi-detached house, 2 up, 2 down, with a garden, and now you're living it up essentially in the UK. Ah, but you know, you're not happy with that. You will still want more. So what can you do? Well, what you can do is you can bring grandma, granddad, mum, dad, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, granddaughter, grandchildren. You can bring all that over with you. So now, instead of having two, you know, you've got Mr. and Mrs. Oga and two children, you've probably got about 17 people living in the same detached housing. Okay, you can still claim, and now you can still claim every single, or you can still claim for money for all those grandchildren, granddaughters, etc., etc., etc. You can still claim more money from that. They're all getting pensions, they're all getting all sorts of benefits, probably up to about £30,000 a year. So you're not paying for nothing. You're literally just sitting down watching television all day. Now, after 5 years, you can then go to the passport office and say, "Hello there, my name is Mr. Oga. I've been in England for 5 years, and I want to claim British citizenship." They say, "Oh, hello there, Mr. Oga. Right, what you'll need to do is you need to take a test. You need to take a certain test to prove that you know about Britain." So then, Mr. Oga, he's not as dumb as he looks. He goes, takes the tests, and passes. He then comes with his little piece of paper and goes to the passport office and says, "Hello there, I've come to claim my passport. I've passed your test. Can I have a passport, please?" "Oh, yes, sir. We'll just do a little test on you, background test, and you know, give us 2 weeks, and we'll be with you in 2 weeks." Well, most of the people I've spoken to, they just got a knock on the door and a passport handed to them in a little white envelope. They didn't have to go to any further tests, anything like that. And one of them was French, one of them was Polish, and about 4 of them were Pakistani. And that's how they got their passports. And I've looked into the system. I can't see anything to say that they were lying to me.
That sounds rather easily corruptible.
Well, yeah, that's the whole idea. That's one thing.
I think it's just about as corruptible as the Canadian one, where it's pretty much just live here 2 years, master one of the 2 languages of the state, and depending on the problem.
Well, bizarrely, in England, you don't even have to speak English. You only have to learn really the certain phrases to get you through that test, like hello, good morning, certain phrases to get through the test. A lot of people can't even speak English, and they've got British passports.
I think that's the difference between the 2 countries is I think we force people to become a little more immersed by making them learn one of the 2 languages. Well, in the UK, you got stuff like, "Oh, just learn a couple phrases and you're good."
It's not really the phrases. I mean, let's say you were to take a test, and you wanted to pass that test. What would you do? You would obviously you'd go and ask someone to help you do the test, wouldn't you? Unless you were crazy. Okay, so essentially, if you came to me and said to me, "Oh, look, what's that building there?" I would say to you, "Oh, that's the Tower of London." See, all you've got to do is tick a box. Then it's multiple choice, right? So as long as you've got that a little bit of, let's say if you've got more than 2 brain cells, you will pass that test. You know, it's a multiple choice test, and it's things like who is the Queen of England, who is the Prime Minister, where does the Prime Minister live? It's where is the Houses of Parliament? What's the name of the Houses of Parliament building? What's the name of the big wheel? You know, it's simple, really simple, straightforward questions that, you know, you can't fail it. It's that easy.
So they give them basically like a grade 3 test, essentially?
Yeah, it's something a 7-year-old would pass, yeah.
Well, it used to be in our country, before you could become a citizen, you had to take a test that most Americans couldn't pass. Just the way it is. You had to know the preamble of the Constitution. You had to know the capitals of the states. You had to know the Gettysburg Address. You had to know the first, I think, 14 presidents at least, so up to Lincoln. You had to know a lot. But now it's, I don't know, man. The whole easy way in doesn't make me happy. Hell, I speak English. I don't speak it properly, according to probably Cass S and the Britisher and RPR and all my other British friends, but I speak English. But I don't think that means I should just be able to roll on over to merry old England and say I am now a Britisher. I mean, anyway, and it's becoming all too easy. And if we are going to make it easy for one, we should make it easy for all.
But in the UK, you don't have birthright. See, whereas in the US, you have birthright. So in the US, you have, for example, you have Nigerians, pregnant Nigerians flying in, having a baby in Massachusetts, and that's instant citizenship. See, whereas in the UK, you don't have that. We got rid of that.
I'm not for that myself, but you're right. Take for example, oh shit, I'm having a brain fart now. The guy that ran against Barack Obama, Heinz ketchup wife, Kerry. You know when
John Kerry?
Oh wait, no, wait, I got that wrong. Not Kerry. Shit. The other tall, dark-haired guy. I can't believe I can't think of his name because his grandfather was actually governor of Michigan. Somebody tell me in the chat who I'm trying to think of. I think my chat might be frozen over here on my side. Yeah, he ran against Obama. They said he was going to win, and then he had a
some shit about poor people.
Yeah,
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney. So Mitt Romney, his family has a big compound. They're Mormons. They have a big compound in Mexico. So when his mama was about ready to give birth, they hauled ass to America. Now, these people had money, but I don't give a shit. This is what I'm talking about. Is it don't matter, poor, rich, whatever. Got to an American hospital, squirted out daggone Mitt. What a name is Mitt. And then, oh, he's an American. No, Mitt Romney. They took him right back to the compound in Mexico. And don't get me wrong, the compound in Mexico is a Mormon compound. They own it and have a deal with the Mexican government, and it's very American. They have American school, but it's not in the United States of America. And I'm not all for, and good Lord, will I ever get letters if the right people hear this? That's not what I'm saying. But no way, man, no. The only thing that I think is okay about citizenship that seems wonky to some is if you're a military brat, if you have military parents, and they're at the Air Force Base in Spangdahlem, Germany, and your mother gives birth to you at the hospital, at the United States hospital on that Air Force Base in Spangdahlem, Germany, you're an American. You are an American citizen, bam, by birth. But the whole idea of someone coming across from Tijuana into San Diego and having a baby, because of course, the idea that we need this health care because people are going to die. They're the party of death. No one dies in the United States. Will they have a bill? Yes. But if you have you name it, no one has ever been put out in the street in the United States for the last 120 years for sure. Before that, I can't speak to. I know it was different. But in modern times, no. They will give you a bill. Man, I'm bouncing all around. So no, man, you can't come to a country, and I didn't know that about Great Britain. And I'm thankful. Just because my wife and I could be on vacation. You were talking about how you used me as an example, and I'm glad you did. So now let's say that me and Mrs. Ogre are there and she's pregnant and she pops a baby out in daggone Manchester, right? My child is now a citizen of Great Britain? No, I mean, that's insane.
We don't have birthright. So
no, that's what you said. I agree with that. That's so cool.
Yeah, we don't have birthright anymore. We stopped that. A lot of the problems with Britain go back obviously to like the days of the Empire. And this was the thing because you had people being born, in all over the world. You had British people being born in Jamaica, in India, in Canada, but they all still wanted to be British. See, they're all called British. So there's that hasn't really been got rid of essentially because that doesn't happen anymore, obviously, and they haven't really got rid of the laws. So it's a carryover from the from like the days of 1920s or something. So. As I've said numerous occasions, this sort of thing needs to stop. It needed to stop years ago, 10, 15 years ago, but they haven't bothered doing it then, and it doesn't look like they're going to do it now either. Theresa May's backed out on it.
Well, I got you here now, Cass S, and your audio sucks, so nobody can probably recognize your voice, and I don't know who the fuck you are. You got some guy in an alleyway or looking at in a tunnel right here.
That's me.
So I believe it, but I'm just saying, no one knows. So I want the truth from you. What's going on, mate? What's going on? I'm going to just quote John Cleese. When you walk down the streets in London, where you're from, and there's no Londoners there. What's going on? Do you have an idea? What do you think is what's going on?
It's a plan. It's a plan to like have the country changed to suit a very, very, very small minority of people. And that minority of people has nothing to do with the people that are coming into the country. The minority of people are these globalists who don't have real countries. They may be born in Britain, but they're quite happily swanning around in the Caribbean for most of their lives. But they'll make their money in Britain, and they won't give back anything. But they'll be happy to call themselves British. But they have no love for the country. Essentially, they don't really care about the people who live in the country. The ordinary people are essentially just set out in a boat and said toodaloo.
Well, and I gotta press you a little bit. Come on, mate. Don't hold back if you can. What's the plan? You said there's a plan. What's the plan?
I told you the plan. The plan is to eradicate the British nation, the French nation, the German nation, into amalgamating all into one nation. That's the idea. That's the plan. It's the globalized plan, mate. Is that everyone is essentially the same. We're all bots, thinking the same, doing the same, behaving the same, wanting the same, spending the same. That's the plan.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense to me. But why? Okay, and if you don't want to take this, I'll answer my own damn question. Why would they help? And I want you to. I hear you go mute, and I appreciate that for the background noise, but I want your voice. Why in the hell? I mean, why would they want to end the diversity? They talk about being diverse, right? And they want you to be diverse as long as it's not your culture. Because good Lord knows, Cass S, you shouldn't be proud to be, you shouldn't be a part of the Defense League. You know, you shouldn't be proud to fly the Union Jack and to say, look at me, I am British. I go back 1,000 years and more. So, I mean, why are they doing this? Why would they want there to be this one thing?
Old saying, it's called follow the money. And that's all it's about. It's about money. Eventually, these countries are going to become bankrupt really, really, really soon. There's no way you can have the country that we have with the systems we have and still be, in the black. It doesn't exist. America's the same. America technically is bankrupt. But,
oh, good Lord, yes. We got such a deficit, man. Holy fuck.
But the American system is slightly different because they're using their military, military-industrial complex to self-finance themselves, whereas the UK doesn't have that.
Well, but you said a big thing, follow the money. So does it go all the way back to Mayor Rothschild when he said, give me control of a nation's currency and I don't care who makes the laws? Is that what we're talking about?
Who knows? Nobody knows exactly who it is, whether it's a secret group or whether it's like, the politicians, top politicians all get together and they decide. Who knows? It's a complicated thing. There's lots of different debates about it. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because people keep coming up with different things and different. I just know that essentially once you get to a certain state in your life, with I'm talking about money. Once you get to a certain bank balance, you become a separate person from everyone else.
Yeah, well, that's well said. I'm going to say this: something is happening when what we want is to be us, and I think that covers everybody here. RPR, I'm glad you're still in the chat. I was up and selling eggs when you must have disappeared. Thanks for showing up. But we want to be us. RPR, he's an Englishman, he's a Britisher, but he's also a Welshman. And he does want to be Welsh, believe me. He doesn't want to fight anybody over it, but he wants to be Welsh. He wants to drink his Welsh beer. He wants to do his Welsh things and speak his Welsh way. I believe that we all want that. And the only thing I can see by whatever this is, whoever's in control, we don't know. You said that very well. The only thing that can be had by it is a group that's easier to control. Because when the Welsh are Welsh and the Scottish are Scottish but they're all British, and when the Michiganders are Michiganders and the Ohioans and the Californians, but they're all Americans. Well, it's kind of harder to control them. And when you say follow the money, we got a lot of like pop-ups there. It's about control and whatnot. Yeah, it's about control, but we can get to the bottom of it.
Well, again, you're talking about control. Control is very, very, very easy when you have like a stupid population. Essentially, a stupid population will lust after an iPhone, and they will lust after a new car. They will lust after, they will kill people over trainers, over a pair of training shoes. We've seen it dozens of times. It'll happen again and again, again, again. That sort of population is very, very, very easy to control. Now, the original British population isn't really like that. That's not a British way. Traditionally, going back to sorry?
No, I think it was just background noise.
Oh, okay.
Traditionally,
the British population, and actually most of Europe, really, we're not spend how people like the American way. That's the American way, is to buy new. The British way wasn't really like that. It changed when Margaret Thatcher came in. She brought in this greed is good sort of background into Britain, and it really caught on with Tony Blair, because what he did was he brought in thousands upon thousands upon thousands of immigrants, and they loved that system. They love it. They love lusting after the new iPhone, the new trainers, the new this, new that, new this, new this, new this, new that, and it's corrupted the traditional British way, and so they bought into it, and that's where that's what we have now. You can see the two sides that you have in Britain. I believe it's all to do with spending and keeping that sort of motion going to where the money's going. Got to keep the money going in the right direction, and that's what the government want. All governments want that.
Yeah, and I really like RPR. I know you don't speak Welsh, mate, but we have talked, and you were talking about that they're teaching it in the schools. And what I meant by speak your Welsh way, I just realized Welsh is a fucking language, like an American moron. I guess it slipped my mind. But what I meant by your Welsh way is you have a distinct accent. You don't sound like the Britisher. You don't sound like Cass S. You don't sound like Cabbage Patch Bastard. You don't sound like Count Dankula. And I could go on and name probably 10 more Britishers. And when I say Britishers, I hope everybody knows I'm not referring to the Britisher. When I say Britishers, I just think it's a cool way to say folks from the United Kingdom, because aren't all y'all Britishers, whether you're Scottish, Irish, Welsh, you know? I was looking for some affirmation, but I know he's got to mute and unmute himself.
Yeah,
so
you're right. British is British, and that's that. It's all like a sort of amalgamation, yeah.
Yes, that's that. Because whether or not you're Cockney and you grew up in the sound of the bells of that famous church or whatever else, when it comes down to it, you don't. A Scotsman and a Welshman may be in the pub banging each other. I mean, just pounding each other. But don't be an American and get in and try to break them up. They'll probably turn and beat your ass. Because when it comes down to it, you're talking about sibling rivalry there. That's all there is to it.
See, that's all. Again, you mentioned Cockney. That's gone now. That's another thing that's gone from the sort of UK history. All gone. Cockney is more or less a Bangladeshi now. If you want to find a Cockney, you go to Bangladesh. You don't come to England. There are more Cockneys in Bangladesh than there are in England, I tell you.
So Ginger Baker is the one, because he's my hero, man. The reason I started playing drums. So that his kind, or there's no more of that language in that way?
His kind have all gone to Essex and places like that. They don't live anywhere near London anymore. Those type of people have long gone.
That's a sad thing, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
Sure is. Used to have an old fish market, the Billingsgate Fish Market, and that was they've closed it now, of course. But even those guys, when you look at the customer base in the 1970s and the customer base in the 2000s, there's not an English customer amongst them.
Man, I don't even know how to feel. I mean, I do know how to feel about that. It makes me ill because I don't want to listen. I want as anyone that would like. Oh, so glad reviews here, and we're going to switch to some American things. Thank you so much, ZK, for sticking in here too. I know that it's been a little British. If anyone remembers way back in the annals of ogreism, I started Sunday as a very British Sunday, way before I even did live streams. And I did British stuff on Sunday because I love the Mother Island. Whereas I'm 1/8 Scot. Look at what it's done to my beard. My Jewish body was invaded by 1/8 Scottish, and they took over. I've got freaking blue eyes, was probably more green than blue, and a red beard. So I do have a soft spot in my heart. I also married a Scottish girl. I wish I could say her last name, but I can't. I'll say her, one of her grandparents' last name, Bailey. And most people know the name Bailey is about as English as it gets. It's right there. So all of my married family is all English and Scottish. And by that, I mean American English and Scottish, but they're very proud of who they are, and they know who they are. And their ways are still there. When I hear an Englishman say there's no more, I never considered that. There's no more Cockneys. That's unreal.
Hi, Cass.
Oh, did I ruin that? I thought, man, my chickens go crazy and stuff. I thought I heard a wild noise. I was just shouting for my wife. Probably one of my birds.
Oh, no, you're all good, man. How you doing today?
Not too bad. How are you?
Oh yeah, good Lord. So before we shift completely away, because I'm telling you, it was like I got people coming in and buying eggs on Sunday left and right, and then I just when there was somebody pulled up in a go-kart when I just left, and then I heard this wild noise, and I guess it was my wife getting a pan because I got these on. I live way in the country, and believe it or not, while my wife does her day-to-day right now in the kitchen, she has a 6 Sauer P238 on her hip right now. It's locked and loaded too. All she's got to do is drop the safety and start firing. Because where I live, you don't call the fucking cops. You call the cops to take a report. The bad stuff has already happened, and the bad people are gone if you got to call the cops up here. So I am, I wouldn't say paranoid, because I'm not paranoid. Unless the other day, I don't think you were here, Review the Earth, but Sarge came, and I got Sarge on a stream, and he broke out this fucking butane hash oil sativa, full sativa, and we were right in the middle of something. And I was looking at him, and I was stoned. I was getting paranoid stoned, and he looked like he was about the end too. So I just reached over and stopped. I didn't even say my end tagline, nothing. Just stopped the fucking transmission. Looked at Sarge and was like, "Bro, I'm fucking stoned. I'm going to bed." Laid down. I shit you not. I slept for almost 12 and a half hours, man. And as the Britisher said, you shouldn't replace one thing with another. And I don't smoke a lot of marijuana, believe it or not. I don't. I smoke during the stream. I smoke sometimes, but it wouldn't be a good thing. And then if that's not an example of that I'm not a professional, I don't know what is. Because Sarge was here. Anybody can go look at that stream. Sarge was here talking about rescuing some general from Laos, man, with a 24-man team. He was the head of that team, man. This guy, it's not often in life that you can meet a true warrior. And I've met a couple, but how I know they're true warriors is like Sarge. He'll tell you like where he was and what happened, but like the traditional war story, if anybody knows what I mean, like if he don't talk about like anybody hurt or what it, that stuff is just, it's so far buried inside that so anyway, blah, 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 blah. I roll on and on. But what I did Review the Earth is I started out by talking about losing my mojo, and we're going to go into some fun shit because I really wanted to talk about this damn thing I found on Drudge Report Review the Earth, where they're stopping the gay people from doing their march in Istanbul. They stopped them. And where's the gay uprising for that? But I don't know, man. Sunday service is supposed to be a little laid back. So anyway, we have found out today. Let me bring this home. Let me bring it home. I can't do hand farts. Man, I tell you, that Lionel Nation, man, he does these unbelievable hand farts that are like, and he'll start singing like a random, I don't know. I love the guy. And again, probably everybody's like, oh, Lionel Nation. I know Me Too, if he's still here, he knows who he is. And anybody else that does it, go check out Lionel Nation, man. He's fucking unbelievable. He's one of us. And not only that, when he's doing his thing, he's got like 600 people watching him, man. He's actually got a voice. He's really good.
He's great. He's really good. Lionel's the man.
Yeah, and there's ZK. So I got to shift gears now, Cass S, and I appreciate you coming in. I tried to get the Britisher in here with you, Cass S, and I'll even tell you, I'll tell you what I wrote to him. Let me tell you, because I'm going to be transparent with you today, Cass, because, you know, he wasn't here, and I try to stand up for my brother, but I'm not my brother. He's got his own voice. But I was like, Cass S is here. Come in and kick his ass. Oh, I'm sorry. I said, Cass S is here. Come in and kick his Cass ass.
Yeah, not too bad. Okay, well, one thing, I'll sign out on that.
Sorry,
if you
sorry,
can see the group chat, I'm going to add links to the group chat. So I'll be listening, but I won't be in. But I'll add links to the group chat so you can have a look and kick his ass for me.
And yeah, and that's all jokes. You know, he's my mate, bro. I'm not going to read you like the two other ones I sent him because he's not coming in. He's so busy with the week that was because I was kind of prodding him, and I don't want people to know my personal proddings of my brother, my mate. But I do need to have you two on because Cabbage Patch Bastard is very busy nowadays, and you're kind of almost the alternative Cabbage Patch Bastard, only not quite as, boy, he's a very hard man.
No, I'm not that hard.
He is, boy. He's something else. I think. Does anybody else on the panel? Do you remember Cabbage Patch Bastard Review the Earth?
I talked with him one time, not on a live YouTube stream, but like on a hangout. I've talked to him before.
He's a ball busted son of a bitch, boy.
Yeah, he's a good time.
He really is. All right. Yeah, go ahead, man. Take us off with this topic, brother. Get us onto some American shit review. What's up?
All right. Well, I guess I could riff with the. I saw Styx was talking about the Erdogan Turkish gay pride thing. What's up with that? You said you're saying no. You saw it on Drudge. I'm on Drudge, flipping around. Istanbul police enforced ban on gay transgender pride march.
Yeah, that's the one, and I'm more than happy to speak about that a little bit if you want to.
I haven't read it. I found it on Yahoo. It's on Yahoo News, but I found it from the Drudge report.
Yeah, it's linked Drudge to Yahoo News, and it's just this is my problem. Review. They want to come and fucking preach to you, man. You know, they want to come and tell you what the fuck you got to do. Even though I've never even talked to you about this, but I'm going to guarantee you. Are you going to beat somebody up in the bar because he's gay?
No.
Are you going to like start just going all fucking total big red Clinton Cox on somebody because he's like, oh, are you homosexual? I find you attractive. Would that trigger you, sir?
No.
No. I mean, what would you do? Probably look at him and say, no, I'm not that persuasion. So we get preached to all the time about how we're homophobic and we're transphobic. Are they going to go here, Clint? Are they going to stand up for this deal?
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really ever, I don't really get preached to. I've never really had an issue there, I guess. I think that, like, they generalize. I think that's probably what you're saying. Like, I think that generally, like, people that I know that might be gay, they might generally think that maybe I would be different than I really am. But that happens with everybody. I think there's a lot of generalization that goes on, and it's, I don't know. Sometimes it's okay. Other times it's just it is what it is. It's all about the free speech and working out issues, I think. So whether it is too much one way or the other, it's good that we're all talking about it. And I hope that they do stand up for this. I don't know the whole thing, but I'm just gonna guess that like I said, I haven't really read the story, but so I'm gonna say that the government, the state of Turkey is taking some issue with the gay pride that's going on because the state is now an Islamic state.
Well, and we had the finer print in here earlier that was talking about Erdogan and how he's a totalitarian dictator. Let me read a little bit real quickly. Istanbul, Reuters, Turkish police deploy in central Istanbul on Sunday to enforce a ban on the city's annual gay and transgender pride march, blocking off a main street and dispersing groups of demonstrators who gathered nearby. Police with riot shields and helmets sealed off entrances to this street that I can't say, where organizers have planned to hold a march before authorities announced the ban on Saturday, citing security concerns and threats from an ultra-naturalistic group. So that's it. I mean, the police there are stopping a gay pride parade. They're saying what they want. So can I say, and yes, Review the Earth, I was saying no one, and brother, look at you, man. No one's going to come up to you and start pointing their fucking finger in your face. They, you know, and they might do it respectfully from a distance, but they're not. But yes, we get preached to by this thing and made to feel bad because we are what we are. But where are these people, whether or not they're, because nobody really preaches to my face either, brother, but where are these people that would, if they thought they were safe, are they going to go here and do anything about this? Or would they only preach to the choir, i.e. you and I?
Well, say that again as far as your question goes, like, because I mean, it's probably that, like, a lot of people are just finding out, like I just am finding out about it here. But so that the police, they're enforcing the ban on
Is Antifa and the insane left going to pack up on a 747 and fly over to Istanbul to protest this? That's the question.
No, of course not. Yeah, and are the Antifa? Is there, you know, where's the Antifa crowd in Istanbul? Well, they probably don't exist because it's an Islamic state, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. Didn't Erdogan, as of a year ago, right? They took full control, right? Like he took it over, and it's now like an Islamic state, right? They're starting to dissolve treaties with countries, maybe, or re-looking at them.
Man, I think Cass S would know a lot more about that. Or actually, it was the finer print. I don't know much about Erdogan. I don't even know if he's Islamic, dude. They're fucking. I believe Clinton, Cox, that the fucking diplomacy ends at the water's edge. So what the fuck do I care about these leaders? Oh, I heard him break in. So Cass S may know something about
it. Go for it. Sorry.
No, well, if you want me to talk about Erdogan, I would actually probably defend Erdogan. Essentially, Erdogan was at the brunt of a US-led coup. After that coup, he was successful in defeating the coup. That's when he became really extreme. He started locking up journalists, arresting policemen, beating up this guy, beating up that guy. So, again, it's a case of like a US policy that backfired. They wanted rid of him, didn't work, and he became more extreme. Now, that might have been the US plan all along, I don't know. But if this goes back to good old CIA, I'm afraid.
Go ahead.
No, it's you, brother. It's on you.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd say correct that we should not have been involved in that at all. Pretty sure that's like now an Islamic state, though. That's what I was looking. I'm looking that up at the time right now. And I'm thinking
it's not an Islamic state. Essentially, what happened was he held a referendum. Oh, there's background going on. I don't know what the hell's going on. Is that me or someone else?
That was me. I'm fixing some shit. I'm here. I'm just fixing some shit. It was me.
Yeah, essentially Erdogan held a referendum. Again, this is after the coup. He held a referendum to increase his powers, but it's not really in the way of an Islamic state. It's really to like cement his own position of power. His position was limited by certain edicts in law. In Turkey's secular law, which he's essentially going to eradicate, and that's the whole purpose. It's not really an Islamic state that you have in Saudi Arabia or in Iran. There's no Sharia law, for example.
I mean, I'd say it's Islamic State light, though, right?
Not really. I mean, you and me, we can still go to Turkey on holiday, and we can wear our shorts. We can drink our beer. We can eat our pork crackling. There will be no like policemen coming clubbing us over the head as you will do in Saudi Arabia or in Dubai or in Indonesia. So I would hesitate to call Turkey anything even close to an Islamic state.
All right, that's cool. Oh, I'm learning. I don't know a lot about this. I know, like I was saying before, I don't know all the ins and outs. I know that we have a
I noticed the mainstream media had turned against him when that coup failed. I noticed that all of a sudden Erdogan was the bad guy. It's amazing. It was amazing to me that because essentially the US were trying to put in this Gulam guy, who is a radical, who is an ISIS supporting radical.
Gulen guy, that's a whole nother story. I know a little bit more about him.
It's amazing that they were trying to replace Erdogan, who they're now calling a sort of as a fascist, Islamic fascist guy, and they were trying to replace Erdogan with this guy. I mean, this guy's like Ayatollah Khomeini. He's a Sunni version of the Khomeinis. I mean, good God,
the Gulen guy is definitely from what I've researched on that's the guy that's coming here and immigrating or using the programs that we have set up and immigrating a lot of migrants into this country and then setting them up with jobs and things like that. There's programs going up just putting their kids through charter schools that are paid for by taxpayers, which is like a big issue. Like that's total BS. Like that we would be funding charter schools because people think that charter schools are a great idea, and they might be if they're all applied fairly, but if they're being used as a tool to allow like a different curriculum, different curriculum, we'll say, we're funding all that and then allowing that to happen, and then they're all voting a certain way. It's starting to become a problem there. So I do know about Gulen a little bit, but I definitely didn't mean to say that I thought Erdogan was definitely like some kind of dictator madman. But
say whatever you want, Review.
No. I didn't mean to come off like that, though. I just meant to say that I know that he, like you were saying, I'm not sure your name in the tunnel. I can't see your name on here. I'm using my phone, but
that's Cass S. Review. He's a pretty much a staple here.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I know that we have that he took control, seized power, and started shutting down some press and things, which we see is kind of a bad thing, naturally. Is it the end of the world? I don't know yet, but we have.
I have to stop you there again.
And y'all are gonna hate me, but I just seen that Mad Dodge Productions is in here. Are we gonna be able to talk about this Trump thing with the whole fucking healthcare like in 10 minutes or what?
Yeah, you can do. Just let me make one more point. Erdogan did not seize power. He is legitimately voted by the people. He has the people's support, 89%. Okay, so we've got a good system.
I misspoke. I understand that. Yeah.
Hasn't Turkey had a bunch of coups in the last few decades? Isn't that what the military does? Is when it goes from secular to more Islamic, the military takes over. They have a coup. And they reset the government. That's how Turkey was set up.
No. Hold on. The army is secular. What happens is that you've got certain people who become president and then want to install a more Islamic state, and the army would come and take them over for the seculars.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it's the United States' fault. We didn't do that. The army has done this over and over the past 30 years.
No, not the last 30 years. I mean, again, we're not really being accurate here. The Turkish state is a democratically elected state. If a Turkish president becomes what we call goes rogue, yes, the army can come in and overtake the state to preserve the secular nation. Essentially similar to like Egypt, a little bit like Egypt. But there has been no army takeover, apart from the CIA-sponsored coup that failed against Erdogan.
Right, that's correct. That's what I meant to say. Well, I misspoke earlier. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that British accent he's got, man. I'm trying to get the British
right. I get what you're saying.
Let me just say this much: the idea of a secular army, especially in this case, I will just reiterate what happens is. You have a movement that appears to be somewhat secular, that is ran by ideologues and demagogues, and then when they come into power, they show their true colors, which in this case, if I'm not mistaken, they have made any excuse possible to stop some gay folks from fucking marching down the street. And Cass S, man, you are a prized person on this stream. But I'm going to tell you, man, can't you apply the same lens you use to look at your own country on this entire thing and see that this same cabal that is trying to snatch the very Britishness from you and from your beloved island is doing the same thing here in Turkey? Is that too much to say?
But Turkey has, let's say, the people overwhelmingly support Erdogan. Okay, the people in the UK do not overwhelmingly support mass immigration. That's the difference.
And I would agree with that. But it is the would you say that this, because as this article is reporting, it's saying that there's a ban on gays. Is that new, or has it always been like that? But now they're enforcing it. Because I know in the States, like, there's been laws and then they were never enforced.
That's right. There was, in theory, always a ban on gay activism in Turkey, but it was never enforced. It was essentially a law that was never really enforced. Well, again, since Erdogan had the referendum, this is one of the consequences of that referendum. He's become, more strict on that.
I got you. Okay, so that makes sense. So it may not even be anything necessarily to do with, well, it's not publicly tying itself to like any sort of Islam, but that might be, there could be an underlying reason on why they're now enforcing it, maybe.
Yeah, it's obviously that someone that has Erdogan's ear is wanting to put a stop to this, and so that's probably what's happening.
Dictators always tend to want to do that kind of stuff anyways, and it always is going to start with the undesirable, the
Let's stop the dictator. He's not a dictator, he's democratically elected. You have to be very careful here, because
you're totally
putting him in the same category.
Yeah.
He's nothing like that.
No, you're totally right on that. I apologize again, because I see that's like the tell that I've got that in my head, right? And I even understand it.
Yeah.
I just keep saying it.
This is the problem I have with American media, and it's terrible, because what it does is it drones on and on and on about certain points that are total bullshit, and people pick them up.
Mainstream media, I don't even watch it, but I still pick up certain threads. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I totally get it, because I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of American YouTubers, and they're all saying the same things as you, and I'm just tearing my hair out of them, saying, no, will you bloody stop?
Well, yeah, I've only got a short amount of time before we just oh man, Matt Dodge just left. He'll come back, I hope. He's got children and whatnot, but we've only got a certain amount of time before I shift, because it's a Sunday, man. It's a very British Sunday. We've covered some British stuff. I really want to talk about, as long as I got Review the Earth here, a little bit about this Trump thing, man, because and we'll talk about why in a second. But is it enough to say that something is amiss in Turkey? Could we leave it at that?
There's definitely something amiss in Turkey. We have nuclear weapons. I don't know. He might know about the nuclear weapons situation better than I do too. I don't know that. In Circlic Air Force Base.
Yeah, well, we can agree that there is something going on in Turkey. I don't know if it's amiss. I think that Turkey is becoming more woke, to use the modern vernacular.
But the Turkey is woke? So they're not letting gay folk? Is that why they're woke? I mean, please explain that.
I think you missed the thing on the gays. Essentially, the gay thing is that certain Islamic people within the Turkish government have got Erdogan's ear, and they're like bringing that to the fore.
More like got his balls.
Well, whatever. But I think that 10 years ago you wouldn't have had a Turkish government standing up to Saudi Arabia, standing up to Egypt, standing up to the USA.
Okay, you're right. I'll definitely give you that one. All I'll say is, Cass S, you're intelligent, and your fucking accent, man. Where's the Britisher when I need him? And I don't know. He'd probably agree with you on all this. But here's the deal. I would like to see the same people that would look at me would look at you. Oh, thank goodness, Conscious Caracle's here. We're going to get off the politics here, Conscious Caracle, just shortly. And if you've been listening to any of the live stream and want to make any comments, because, man, last time you came in, it was the end of the broadcast. And I'm sure you know, sir, that I would mean no disrespect to you and want to give you all the airtime that you'd want. So if you have something to pop in, did you pop in because I sent you the link or because you've been listening and have something to say?
Oh, no, I just saw the notification in my DMs. I haven't been able to tune in at the moment, but I'm just falling in, so I'll pick up the pieces and see where the conversation goes. But thanks for accommodating me.
Oh, you better believe it, mate. I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for you, sir. You're on the top 5 list on the Ogre's little list of people that need to be there once in a while, or I would suck. So yeah, and you know, I'm not going to reiterate all this because I'm sure that you'll have some things to say about what we're going to talk about here coming up very quickly, because I'm going to go for, look, folks, I'm going to go for another, because it's Sunday and people are dropping off like flies. It's probably because all that I've talked about the whole time is politics and the greater overarching cabal that wants to take away our very life and our liberties and everything else. And I've got there's been a lot of really great comments on it, but it's time that we shifted gears from that, because it's the Sunday service. You know, it's time to here, as soon as we talk about this, to move on. So I have noticed that today they had Donald Trump on Fox, and you know, he was talking about this healthcare thing and how all of the Clintons, and in fact Hillary Clinton's entire whole spiel from the 90s was healthcare. Never got it. She did not agree with Obamacare. If you look back in the record, she did not like Obamacare. Now it's the greatest thing. And I'm not Republican, but if you support Republicans, you're the party of death. This is the question. Review the Earth, Mad Dodge Productions, ZK. Why is it that the same group of people that will not go to Istanbul and stand up for gay rights, they will not do it, that will preach to us about evil and blah, 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 and you're alt-right, they call you a daggone Nazi, call you everything daggone that they possibly can to make you feel bad. Why is it that they can take decades and come up with nothing? And President Trump's been in office for 150 days, man, and they're already like, wow, you did this, you know, what's up with this healthcare thing?
It's fake news, man. Fake news has brainwashed this country so bad. Kind of going back to what Kaz was saying. Fake news has just completely poisoned our country. And people bought all this bull crap. Like, I've been saying it the whole time and looked like a nut job for 8 years. But look, trying to constructively say it for the last 8 years. Trying to make arguments and logic and reason and stuff. And it wasn't going so good for a while until Trump kind of won. But I think it's fake news is really, we're breaking fake news' back now. So it's like, it's getting better, I think.
Yeah, and it's not only fake news, it's the ones that are running it. And I don't know if you noticed, I know you're real busy, and but I do start the broadcast now with the mashup that you sent me there, Review the Earth. I start out with fake news every time.
I love that.
I love it.
Love the flow.
I've wore that shit. I was like, MSNBC, you're fake news. You're fake news. I might be a little biased. In fact, I am. I supported Donald Trump from the time he was coming down the escalator, and I think I'm the only one here that did from the very beginning. As soon as he said he wanted to be president, I was like, holy fuck, President Trump would be a good thing for our country. In truth, to anyone that doesn't know, that doesn't live here, Donald Trump has been an excellent thing for our country.
I think so.
Oh my gracious, everything is on the rise right now. We are getting back to being Americans, not some member of a global whatever.
You gotta love the flow, baby. Love the flow.
Hopefully Canada can get a
Well, you just have to look at the growth of the Dow since his election. It's just been a steady increase, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon or losing momentum. I mean, the money talks. The big money people know when something's good and when things are becoming and getting better. So I'm just looking at investment and looking at where the money is flowing, and it seems like the world is feeling pretty positive about America in terms of just where they want to invest their money.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll be the one dissenter. I don't like Trump's stance on eminent domain, and among other things, I'm not a Trump fanboy. So sorry to break up your boys' love fest.
At Dodge, I'm not a fan of eminent domain either. And
now I'm a fanboy. I see how it is, Mad Dog. I see how it is.
No, man, I'm definitely not on board with everything Trump does. I don't think most of his fans are on board with everything. I mean, everyone's going to have some flaws and going to make some mistakes. There are definitely some things that I criticize. But at the moment, in general, I think he's doing a pretty good job. I think he's the bar was set so low by Bush and Obama. I think he's doing pretty well in comparison, at least.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Ogre, I meant no disrespect. So
I know. I gotta bust balls in the host. And listen, now I got straight Sith mail in here. So as long as we can stay on the topic, allow me to please just chill back and listen, because I fucking talk too much. Everybody knows that. I get told that all the fucking time. So help me. Where do we stand? Not only on the healthcare thing, straight Sith mail, and all others here gathered, but just like this thing in Istanbul. Well, not just like, but similar. Why are they so hell bent on destroying the president that is in office at this moment?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can. I got a line on everybody.
Okay. No, like, come on. Obama kind of basically fucked us over. I voted for the dude the first time because I was like, yeah, green energy, fucking, we're gonna try to give people decent health care, so on and so forth, right? And he fucking lied to us.
Like, just to interject before you go on, like, I don't blame you for voting for him for the first time. Like, the first time he had me on the hook as well. Like, seriously, he was speaking some serious truth and making some very good points and promises that he just never got to.
Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. He had us on that. He sold us on hope and all this awesomeness. And then it turned, if you don't like my policies, you're fucking racist. And then we started saying, well, fuck you. And then Hillary came on the scene and we were like, we don't want that. Hell no. The bitch was already talking about wanting to fucking start war with Russia in her fucking speeches, man. You know what I mean?
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was openly aggressive towards Russia. You could see what her policy towards Russia would be like, what her foreign policy would resemble. It was all implied in what she was saying in her stance towards Russia. I thought it was pretty obvious.
Yeah. No, exactly, man. Like, it kind of, it snowballed is what happened.
Like,
and then people were sick of it.
You know, like, even afterwards where she said Putin hacked the election because he had a personal grudge against her. Like, fuck, man, that tells you a lot about what she thinks of Russia. She thinks they're obsessed with her and thinks she's like this huge villain. Like, Putin doesn't really care about you, Hillary. Like,
so Conscious.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to ask, you think that, so what you're saying is Hillary thinks that Russia is pretty much gang stalking her, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. That's what I took from it, yes. They have Putin has a personal grudge against her, according to Hillary.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's just she grew up in the same time that everybody had to worry about communists.
It's just it sounds so entitled and arrogant that a country would hack the American election just to get back at one individual. I mean, it's pretty contrived. It's a big stretch of the imagination.
Sorry.
Oh no, and what do you guys think about that Rebel Media thing where they went in and threw a giant fit during the fucking Caesar play?
That's actually a pretty good topic for discussion. I think I think the panel will be pretty split on it. Just my prediction. I think a lot of people have different opinions on it, and I understand why. It's a very subjective issue. It's not black and white. as some people would make it appear. But yeah, I'm going to sit back and listen to you all, and then I'm going to jump in. So go for it.
I just think they're
Well, a lot
stupid
of
because they had the same play
Go ahead.
when Obama was president. When Obama was president, they had a black Caesar. So they did the same thing to the Democrats. So it's just stupid. Freedom of speech, leave them alone.
Yeah, and it's also the fucking play is about not assassinating the guy in charge, because look what the fuck happened to Rome after that shit happened, you know? Ugh. Some people are just like to swim upstream, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm going to let this go on as long as I can. But really quickly, I know that RPR is listening. I'm working so hard this RPR. If I can have this time, if I can have like 5 minutes of your time when the stream ends, let me know in the chat or however you got to when you got to split, because I really got to, I mean, it's me, it's not you, but I've got to get this thing worked out, man. You've worked so hard on it. So just let me know. Sorry, I hope I didn't derail that because I've been listening. There's something going on. Really quickly, yeah, and quickly, what's going on with your mic there, Conscious Caracal? I don't care if it continues that way, but you are roboting a little bit.
Okay, I'll just maybe drop out and back in. Be right back.
Okay, if you got to, and if it don't fix when he gets back, we'll deal with it, man. That's just the way it is. He lives way in the middle of nowhere in South Africa. What the fuck do I want from him?
Oh shit, he's South African? I thought he was British.
No, he's fully so, man. He's not only South African, he's a Boer. He's I believe Flemish, and if I said that wrong, he'll tell me. So you're not only South African, Conscious Caracal, you're a Boer. Does that mean you're Flemish? And if not, would you please explain to folks that thought you were British? They thought you were British. The British are terrified of your ilk.
Yeah, man. 30,000 of us took on 200,000 of them with their superior weapons. So I think we're a pretty big threat to them in the past. We're some of the most ferocious soldiers the world's ever seen. Is my mic better, by the way?
Way much better, brother. Way better.
Okay, great.
Oh, hey, so you're some.
I'm probably going to blame that on my hamster that's running my African computer. He's getting a bit tired, but I whipped him a bit, so he's going. Anyway, yeah, straight to.
What's up? Sorry, dude. Oh, I was going to say, have any of you guys heard of Patrick Chamuso?
No.
Nope.
No.
There's a movie I suggest you guys watch. It's called Catch a Fire. It's about a dude in Africa. He becomes militarized and all. It's all about the political strife between, like, say, Zimbabwe and Nigeria. It's a pretty heavy movie, but the dude today he was called a terrorist. Today he houses an orphanage. He has kids and just takes care of the youngsters.
Well, if we're being fair, Nelson Mandela was a terrorist.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. He spent time with Nelson Mandela. It's a great movie. Check it out. It's called Catch a Fire. Catch a Fire. It's a brilliant movie.
Okay, I'll make a note.
Yeah, but getting back to the rebel thing, my point of view is that they're journalists. They shouldn't do activism the way that they did on that play.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely with you on that. Though I wanted to say before I had to drop out, I think a positive and a negative came from this. Firstly, the negative I think that came from this is that now people are using this as a way of, like, painting the right as snowflakes. But then a positive that came from this is people are actually having the discussion about, is this right? What does this mean for free speech, whatever. So I think that's a very big positive from this, is that people are actually having this discussion now.
Right.
Like, is this acceptable, and should we support this?
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Well, it's interesting because do you guys see the video footage of, like, John McCain, where, like, people were coming in and shouting at him, and he had so many distinguished guests. Oh, Kissinger was in there too with him. This was just recently, like a month or two ago, and these, like, leftist activists were in there shouting at him and, you know, calling him a warmonger and stuff. And I'm all about that. Like, I think that's great. I think it's funny. I think that's good and healthy. They kicked them out, but they were all just, you know, they were being, like, loud and stuff, so they kicked them out, which was cool. but I kind of like that controversial stuff. Like I like it. Like I think that it's they have a First Amendment right to do it too. It's not in good taste, and I don't think a journalistic outfit like the Rebel should be doing it. But like I do like the shakeup. I do like seeing people push people's buttons, I guess you could say. Controversy.
I like Rebel. The one that I don't like, I fucking cannot stand Gavin McInnes. Gavin McInnes is a fucking bitch. Like that dude is.
Oh.
Somebody pushed the Ogre's button here.
Yeah, you just triggered me. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to grab that fucker by his handlebar mustache and just fucking knock him out. But that's just me. It's because he had.
I'm not going to stand up for him. I like him, but I'm not going to stand up for him. Fuck him.
No, well, he put out a thing where he got butthurt because some horror movies kids die and shit. And he's like, kids dying. Oh, re. And then, like, the video before that, he's talking about, well, you need to just go out and do a snowdrift and go out there naked. And I'm like, motherfucker, I grew up in fucking goddamn northern New Mexico. It's cold as shit up there. Fuck you, I ain't going out in the snowdrift unless I got fucking clothes on. Fuck that.
Look, we all have our bad moments. Just look at like Jordan B. Peterson and his conversation with Sam Harris. I mean, people were railing on him after that one. You know,
I didn't catch that. What happened?
It was a few months ago. They had a conversation and they just could not reach an understanding or any sort of dialogue. They were talking about Pinocchio and lies and God and all of that stuff. It was boring as hell.
So basically,
oh my God, was it boring?
Basically, like the roaming millennial vegan gains fucking argument.
No, that shit was fucking gold, man. I listened to that whole thing. That was glorious. No, what I'm saying is everybody has bad moments. I think Gavin McInnes, on the whole, he's very entertaining. I don't think that I would label him a journalist. I think that he's a commentator. But the woman that
not a journalist.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. But the woman who did the interference, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, she is a journalist for Rebel. And if you look at Lauren Southern, who's not in Rebel anymore, but she used to be, she does the same thing. She does, activism journalism, which I think is wrong. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't make yourself a part of the story. You should tell and report about the story fairly and objectively, but you shouldn't be a part of it.
I agree.
What if it's Gonzo style journalism? Like the Hunter S. Thompson, he made himself a part of the story.
He's one of my heroes. Review the Earth, but let's separate Hunter S. Thompson going undercover with the Hell's Angels from Laura Southern coming down to America, rabble rousing, and then people saying, "Well, this and that." And she's like, "Well, I'm not American." To me, there's a little difference.
The concept
just a little breaking news for the panel. Sargon just retweeted one of my tweets and it's kind of blowing up. So if you tweet me something, my notifications are currently disabled.
let me see it. Let me look at it.
I'm gonna go to Twitter. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out too.
Just ruin the whole stream, man. We're all gonna go.
I'll put a link in the side chat so you guys don't have to go through all the trouble.
Oh, the woman from Rebel, her name is Laura Loomer. She was I don't know if has she been there long? I think she just got hired, maybe.
I've never heard of her name before.
Because she actually did this really cool, brave thing, I thought, which was, I think it's in New York. There's like a bull and a fearless girl. Did you guys see the fearless girl video at all?
Yeah. I know of the statue. I don't know what video you're talking about. But I know what statue you're talking about.
The fearless girl. There's like people there taking pictures, and she went up and wrapped it in a burqa, and that was the day of the Sharia March or whatever. She wrapped it up in a burqa, and people were all freaking out. It was a really cool video, I thought. And right after that, I think they hired her because then she was like, all of a sudden she was working at the Rebel Media. I thought she was just a regular person, and then got picked up. So she's like an activist already, kind of. But once you get hired, though, as like if you're trying to be a legit media outlet, then I see what you're saying. I was just making the point that they do have the First Amendment, and they are allowed to do that. But whether it's in good taste or not might be the issue.
Yeah, and we're killing them out, folks. We have more people in here than we have in the chat. So I'm going to go on for like another 20 minutes. And I don't know. It's not because I'm a glory hunter or anything, but I just don't like pissing in the wind.
Yeah, well, we can just have an after-show chat here. I think we have a pretty robust panel, so I think the conversation can go on afterwards.
You know what? Now that you said that, I got nothing better to do, so fuck them. I think that as long as the folks that are here want to, oh wow, they wanted to make it more even, so they dropped out. So, but as long as there's people here chatting, I'll probably keep going on. I just, it's Sunday, and I don't want to bore people. And what I mean by that is sometimes I attract folks that think like I do. And I don't know, maybe what we're thinking today isn't resonating. But I love the conversation. RPR, hopefully. So I was thinking, and Staggerson's here now, so fuck all this shit. We're going on to something fun. We're going to have fun now. I can't talk politics when Staggerson Jags is here. Stag,
let's just go ape shit.
Stag, am I crazy, or did I know? I did know the guy, the Californian that came in yesterday, right? I do know him, Richard.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Oh yeah, I know it was Sleek the Geek. I know. Yeah. I just thought that was one of the coolest little fucking ditties, man. And I just hope, because I was just bitching and moaning because there's like 5 people watching, and I usually, a few more. But you know what? I was watching last night when you ended, Staggerson, and sometimes I'm on the stream and I won't even say the number. There may be however many people there. I fucking love your stream, mate. I really do. The stream of consciousness. And don't you
so much fun, dude. Don't change it. Well, that might be
no.
A spike. I don't know.
Don't change that. Actually, hang on a second. Let me ask my wife. She had a better name. Let me ask her.
Hey, you're actually getting me in the mood for a cigarette as well.
I gotta go.
Oh, thanks for showing up, brother.
Hey, take care, man.
Oh, the stream's a lot of fun. Stream consciousness every Saturday. It's a lot of
so
fun,
anyway,
everyone
on the panel that are not familiar with me and haven't been on a stream, put your channel links and your Twitter links in the side channel. I'll come check you out and swing by. I always like interacting with new skeptics.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go through
a little bit of common sense.
I'm not going to go through and mute everybody that's until I find out who's echoing, but somebody is echoing. I do not think it's me because I was muted. That said, look, RPR, what got you into music,
I'm
man?
just gonna test.
Oh, are you out of here, Conscious?
No. I'm gonna try and find the echo. I think I know who it is.
Yeah, you mute him, mate, because that's killing me right now. Oh, so I'm just
probing
through and finding the echo right here. RPR, what? Because it takes a certain kind of person. I gave you like a little snippet of something, and then you took that, you made a whole bass line, whole lyrics to it. What got you into music, and do you think that anybody can do that kind of thing, or what?
I don't know. What actually got me into music was, believe it or not, my father playing classical music to me when I was a baby. From there, I just
really. That's actually a pretty cool story.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'd done the same thing with my son. When the day my son was born, I was playing him fucking. Oh. So yeah, my son's birth song is actually Fleetwood Mac's "The Chain," and he isn't going down the same routes as me. But hey, he appreciates music, but no. To me when I was a child, got me into music. It was a lot of classical music, and then I found out and found out the guy can play bagpipes, or did play bagpipes, I should say. Well, Gunman can back me up on this. I got into. Mute your mic, please. Yeah, I got into instrumental music. I learned to play a snare drum first, glockenspiel. From there, the guitar, and I had lessons then to actually introduce me into music properly, still can't write proper stave music, but I know how music is orientated. And
yeah, man, that's pretty cool. I've actually always wondered what influences a person's music taste. I wish I could specifically determine what influenced my music taste. I have little factors, but I can't really put my finger on what exactly determined what
I have
makes
a
me tap my
hypothesis.
foot. Yeah.
I think that your parents' taste in music highly influences your taste in music, and you'll notice steps that happen like that. Like me, I'm into a lot of the stuff that came out in the 90s, and then classic rock that came out when my mom was a teenager. You know, Pink Floyd, stuff like that.
If that's the case, then I'm adopted. My dad loves the Platters, and my mom used to listen to ABBA. I listened to Megadeth, Testament, Metallica.
The Platters.
Yeah, the Platters.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you had Megadeth and Testament, all that's great. Introduced you to the Platters rocks.
But you may find some similarities between the music you listen to and the music they listen to if you look hard enough.
Oh,
It might be kind of hard with those specific examples, but
yeah.
All right, so here we go. That was a good segue too, and I full screen Staggy because he's so pretty. Hey man, listen, this is what it is. I've got about an hour and a half of me tops because it's a Sunday show. Staggerson, first of all, I want to just thank you so much for inviting me on your stream yesterday. You have a very unique stream, and the people that come on there, man, I certainly hope that there is like 1,000 people watching you very soon because they're just, I don't know, man. You got some really unique, cool folks that I don't see anywhere else. Dumb
fun,
Drunk.
and I like to get everybody on there. Different types of people like you and Morton are probably the two that probably you'd say don't fit in with the types of people. You know what I mean? Not that you don't fit in, because that's not what the show's about. The show's not about whether or not the earth is flat. The show's not about whether or not ghosts are real. The show's about a bunch of fucking clown heads getting together and fucking having a clown ass time. That's what I think the show's about. And you'll notice I try to derail it off that shit when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like if you're on the show, I try not to talk about that kind of stuff. I can't really control what everybody else wants to talk about all the time.
No, and I apologize. Last night I felt like I took over, man, because you had Queer on there. You had some people that were so Mole, and I haven't really heard from them. And if I don't, I don't. But man, you had some folks on there that just tickled my nad sack, mate. I mean, really kick-ass people.
Yeah, it was fun. They were cool people. Queer and Mole I've never had on before. They were both newcomers to the show. And then there weren't very many of the regulars that made it on that time. So,
well, Mo must not have said much when he was in my chat, because this is a really slow day. Usually we got, you know, folk in there and whatever. I'm not going to belabor that because I just want to have fun with my friends. That's right. It's not about who's watching, really. But
yeah,
here
I've been working on videos all day.
Man, the Mole, I hope one of them was Staggered, Emmett Woosley. But the Mole, he knew about, he was like, he asked me about my Fender, my telly. He asked me, I mean, and that it come to realize for me that I don't always know who's watching, man. The people that are chatting, they're not the only one watching. And man, I dug Mole, and with all due respect to all the other people that were on, because my favorite that's ever been on your show is Sleek the Geek. He's fucking insane, man. The guy, you even said yesterday, he's like, he's worse than me. If you expect him to be quiet, you just got to start talking, because he will not be quiet. He is second to none. He's the American Cabbage Patch Bastard. But anyway, the queer kid, I thought it was a girl. No, he said boy, and I don't even know queer. It's gay. I'm gonna shut up. I feel like Boonhauer now. Let me tell you something about this guy. I was on Staggerson channel and the guy named Queer. I don't know what to say.
I'm just glad you had that conversation with him like that, so I could just sit and watch and learn everything I needed to know, so I didn't make an ass of myself.
Yeah, thanks for that. Because I did. I tried.
No, I kind of knew. I've talked to the guy in the Discord, but it's hard. He does, you know, his voice sounds like a girl. I mean, he's born a girl. He doesn't come across as male when you're talking to him with the voice, so it's hard, you know.
Did you say?
But I try to remember, try to be polite. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, and listen, let's just leave that alone right now. Because when Queer's back on, I may or may not ask him other questions, but I would, by the picture with the Siggy and the cute sounding voice and the pretty girl I was looking at with the icon, I totally thought, well, this is like a 22, 24, 24-year-old girl that I would think was cute. But apparently, no, it's a 24-year-old boy. And it is gay pride something today, right?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
It's like me saying Jewish pride. I got the finer print in here. How in the fuck can we just be like, oh, I'm proud to be Jew? I didn't have no say in that. I mean, it's not like you earned it. You know what I mean? The whole deal gets me because they say look, I'm going off. It's fun time.
Actually, while we're on this topic, I actually saw I'm just going to check if I can find that story. I'm going to send you the link now, Ogre. It's actually something we can talk about. Just going to get
Chicago?
No, about where is it now?
Take your time. It's just dead air. I did notice one thing. Staggerson taught me something. Dead air is not to be totally feared, but man, you know me, Stag. If it goes more than like a second and a half, I like blah, 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 blah. I hate dead air.
Yeah, I don't like it too much either. And people are trying to watch, you know what I mean? If you want people watching your show, you don't want dead air going on. And we're all here in the side chat looking at links that nobody else can see. And, you know,
if you can just present that, Ogre.
So speaking of gay pride parades, I think it was in Chicago that they didn't want to have a gay pride flag. Yeah, there we go.
Exactly.
The Jewish pride flag because it made them feel unsafe.
Oh my!
What's to feel unsafe about a gay Jew?
That bothers me a little bit that they don't like it.
It makes sense to me. Like all these people are usually ideologically kind of in the same basket as the pro-Palestine group. So I can understand why they're taking this angle. Like, it's not a stretch of the imagination.
So gays are pro-Palestine. The folks that want to throw them off
gays.
of buildings.
The leftists among the LGBT community.
Okay, all right, okay.
Like the pro-Palestine, anti-Israel group that always, like, even at a fucking feminist rally, they'll start chanting anti-Israel chants and pro-Palestine shit. So yeah, it doesn't really shock me.
Well, don't shock me either. But when I read 3 people carrying Jewish pride flags were asked to leave the annual Chicago Dyke March on Saturday, that bums me out. And anybody that would say they support gays but don't like Jews and like Palestine, give me a fucking break.
When I hate this whole Jew equals Israel thing too, because what the state of Israel does is not representative of Jews as a whole.
Thank you, because you have a Jew, i.e. me, and you have an Israeli, i.e. the finer print, and we're not the same people, man. He lived in Israel.
So, just out of curiosity, have you ever visited Israel, Ogre?
No, I have not. No, that's what I was saying. I've not. We actually talked the other day, and I said if I went to Israel to live, I would serve my 2 years, because they even have a place for old 42-year-old ogres. I'd probably just shave my beard and, you know, learn to march and stuff, which I already know. But yes.
I wouldn't mind visiting. Like, it's actually one of the places I'd like to visit one day, just for the experience, and I don't want to go to the tourist sites. I just want to feel the atmosphere that's there, and I want to talk to some people. Like, that's what I do when I travel. I talk to the people that live there.
I've seen pictures and video of Tel Aviv and stuff, and it looks like an amazing city.
Oh, it is amazing.
It's beautiful. There's some beautiful natural nature surrounding the cities as well. Like, people think it's just a desert, and like, I've seen some pretty beautiful nature photography coming out of there.
Well, and I got to say this. I got to give the finer print a chance to say it again. You know, he has been in Israel and had a terrible terrorist thing happen. And
I can't hear.
Oh, am I gone?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah, maybe
you might have to
maybe you should just drop and back in. Maybe it's just the audio being a little whack.
Yeah, and that's fine if that's the case. I do want you to hear me, because it's important to me that all of these ideas that in Israel, you know, you go to the Jewish quarter in Jerusalem, or you go to the Muslim quarter, that there's like this hatred amongst them. It's not true.
But you see, that's exactly where I want to go. I want to talk to people. I want to hear from the actual locals what they think and like what their perspective is. That's fucking interesting to me. That's like, for example, when I went to Germany, I just fucking talked to the locals all there. I just talked to people, and I heard some interesting things in perspective. It's really eye-opening.
Well, he'll be back, and not only that, I'm going to say this because I promised, man. I got Staggerson here. We're going to have a little fun. Oh no, it's straight Sith mail. But when it comes back, and this is fun to me too because of this conscious caracal. We are sold a bill. There he is. Ask him whatever you want. This is an Israeli brother. This is a guy that lived in Israel.
We could just finish that thought you were saying.
Who, me?
You were saying something about. Anyway, it seems you've finished.
Well, it was just about the fact that the whole idea of. Because the finer print was there, man. Some shit went down. The next day, there's a Muslim hugging him and saying, "Today I'm not."
I can talk from personal experience. People come talk to me and they're like, "Oh, is this happening in South Africa? And is this true?" And like, I hear the most ludicrous things that people believe about my country, and it always just feels nice to be able to talk to them and be able to give them a South African perspective, as in I'm on the ground and I can give you actual information. Not information that's been filtered.
But you got the opportunity right now, Caracal, with a great Israeli right here, the finer print. So ask him anything. I'm sure he'll answer if he can.
Finer print, can you just tell that story again of this predicament you're in? I missed that stream, and I'm pretty curious.
Oh, well, we were talking about the Ogre was asking whether or not Muslims, like all Muslims, believe in extremism, and I was just giving him an anecdote based on my personal experience, and that my hometown had a terrorist attack, about 7 people dead, maybe 50 people injured, and I have an Arab friend who's Muslim. He's not a Palestinian, he's an Arab Israeli, and I was supposed to meet him the day after, and we meet, and straight out the bat, he just comes over and he hugs me, and he's like, "Bro, I'm ashamed to be a Muslim today." So that's my story with him. That's what I was telling Ogre earlier.
That's touching. Did you cry? I would have cried.
But Ogre mentioned you were in Israel and experienced like a terrorist threat or like a terrorist situation with were you in danger? Was your life under threat?
My life personally, no. But you have to understand something about Israel is that Israel is a very small place. It's tiny. It's smaller than Rhode Island to you Americans out there. The chances of you actually getting hit in a terrorist attack are pretty big. And I was fairly lucky not to experience that, but a lot of my friends and extended family members have either experienced it themselves or had friends experience it themselves, and it's pretty nasty. Having said that, ever since the wall was built and the separation from the Palestinian Authority was made, Israel's become a lot safer to come and visit. A lot of people always ask me, "Oh, is it safe to come visit in Israel?" Yeah, it's safe. If you don't go to stupid places, yeah, you'll be safe. Don't go into the Arab villages. Don't go into the Palestinian Authority. Just stick to Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Go to the desert for sure. You'll be safe. It's like you go into Joburg. You don't go to Joburg unless you absolutely have to.
I mean, fuck, if you want to experience crime, just go to Joburg, to like the actual bad neighborhood, not just downtown. Go walk in some pretty bad neighborhood, and of course you're gonna experience a true South African experience.
And I have a friend who lives in
America too. Go to the bad neighborhoods in America, and you have some pretty bad experiences.
No fucking joke.
But people have this false image of like South Africa is just like this crime dystopia. Like, no, our cities are pretty first world. Like, you can walk down the street here, you're probably not gonna get assaulted or robbed or whatever.
Yeah, well,
the risk is higher.
I would second what Staggy was saying. Go to the east side of Flint, folks. And I don't care what color. The east side is very eclectic. There's whites, blacks. Go to the east side of Flint. Put on a suit and walk down the street. You ain't gonna make it 2 blocks. Your ass is getting fucking mugged and robbed.
Or Northville, for that matter.
No shit, fucking Ogre. All you guys, Come to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I live here, where they did the fucking Breaking Bad goddamn series. We don't have a meth problem like they showed in the fucking show.
Fucking ABQ though, baby.
This place. Oh, dude,
Wait,
ABQ all day.
So you're telling me a fictional series is not a fair representation of the actual place?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, but this town is fucking.
Yeah, so you're telling
crazy,
me
my
like
dude.
District 9 isn't a perfect representation of South Africa?
I
Shocking,
haven't
isn't
seen
it?
the show. No, but Albuquerque's pretty crazy, man. We have our crackheads. We have our crazy people. There's also a bunch of immigrants, and I say immigrants very sparingly, with the people from Katrina. We housed and have a bunch of we have a black demographic more or less because of the Hurricane Katrina. It's crazy, and even then, like some of the places become ghetto, and it's not because of black people. It's because disenfranchised. They don't have the money. Shit sucks. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard living here.
I say let's start a petition to gentrify Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Well, and gentrify. But I would say this: if you went to Prussia in 1895, you would get stabbed by Jews if you went to the ghettos where they were invented, the modern day ghettos, and you would be getting stabbed by a white Jew. It doesn't have a. But funny thing is, Katrina displaced so many people into so many places. I just didn't know it was Albuquerque was one of them, man. And you felt the impact there from that.
Yeah, man. It's a very strange city. People are freaking buck wild in here, man. Like seriously, like you don't know. Like a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, well, Hispanics act this way." No, fucking Chicanos don't act a certain way. Chicanos are fucking insane. All right, I'm one of them.
Yeah, I thought I sensed a little being in you, and that's cool because you're right. Chicanos, man, they don't act a certain way. I've been to Albuquerque. You know what? I've been to Casa Grande many times. I used to buy meth in Casa Grande, and that is a rough town, man. Casa Grande.
Dude, my last name is Gator.
Like I used to buy meth there. Ogre 2017.
My last name is Gano, which
No,
is
it was-
fucking
it was
Italian. It's Sicilian. And then I have my family here are Candelaria and Velarde.
Ooh, my wife is Calabrese and Abujan.
No, my wife is full on Hispanic. She's awesome, but she does not take any shit. That girl will knock the fuck out of me. Take any shit. I'll tell
We
you
all
that
need
much.
that time. And I've found that the reason the women are so tough is because of the machismo. Because Hispanic, and not Hispanic, you said it best. When you have the culture that is in the southwest of the United States, they don't like illegals, man. They don't. They are actually salt of the earth, from what I've found. And I've been.
It's a lot. It's pretty much the same in South Africa as well. We have some of the most beautiful women in the world, but we also have some of the toughest women in the world. I mean, fuck. My ancestors climbed across mountains barefoot.
Yeah,
so.
I'm from Spanish descent. We don't get along with Mexicans. Here we call them mojaos, which is a derogatory word. I know. Shouldn't say that, but I've lost my job due to illegal aliens more than once. So that's why I'm kind of like not on the Trump train, but at the same time kind of like, well, fuck the illegals.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
You know,
some of the biggest supporters of Trump
if they're Mexican, they get salty.
immigration, well, some of the biggest supporters of Trump's take on immigration are actually Hispanics and people that came here legally, that don't want people that came here in a truck taking their job, or people. They are people that went through the actual process and got their citizenship.
well, fuck, man, my Hispanic family were conquerors. They were the fucking conquistadors. Like they came through and taking the land. It wasn't all white that took.
Yeah, they were like some of the first ones here, huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
They were like some of the first ones here. The Spanish came into Central America and spread up through the Southwest and down into South America before Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Long
Yeah,
before.
exactly.
Long before.
Sorry.
Yeah, and if you ask a person of Spanish descent if they're Mexican, they usually get pretty salty. I found that out the hard way.
Well, they're Castilian. There's a difference, and I think that maybe the straight Sith male could speak to this. There's a difference between Castilian and Hispanic. Big difference.
Yes, I'm Castilian. I grew up. My family are, like I said, Candelaria, so they are Hispanic, and I call myself a Hispanic, even though I sound fucking white and I look fucking white, but I'm still Chicano. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. In heritage, not in skin color.
Española, sir.
Un poquito, amigo.
Sí.
Un poquito. Español is not so good for me. I can actually speak Spanglish pretty well.
Yeah, well, that's what I speak is Spanglish. I can say something like, yo tengo pesos por pedazo de pinocha.
I could say
I can get
things
a
like,
bag of dope.
I could say things like, "Quera helasos, pinche way," and they say, "What does that mean?" I said, "Do you want to fight, motherfucker?"
You want to fight? Yeah, you want to fight. What I said was, I got some money for a piece of pussy. So yeah.
No, I know.
I know you know, but somebody else was like, "Oh, I can get a bag of grass or whatever." No, I could get a bag of grass or whatever, and ask for the bathroom. But here's the thing: I decided a long time ago. This is not off topic. We were talking all day about this idea of what's going on with Muslims and whatnot. I decided when I was very young that if I wanted to live in this country, that I should at least be able to get directions in Spanish. I should at least be able to know what the person's name was, what they did in Spanish, because, man, you know, they're a big part of our culture. And I'm going to tell you, the folks that I know that came here legally, they're great.
Oh, no,
people.
exactly.
They're great folk, man.
No, exactly. Like I said, living here, I have no fucking problem with the Mexican peoples coming through, so long as they're vetted properly. There's nothing fucking wrong with it.
But I mean, you can judge a lot about their character through their actions as well. I think there's a big difference in character between a person that hides in a truck and a person that actually goes through the effort to try and get citizenship legally.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly.
All right, so listen, let's wrap it up on the fucking hardcore shit, and I mean it. I got daggone
right,
and the reason why I'm saying this is because Staggy, I never hear this shit on your stream. I don't. You all talk about life and love and fart jokes and crack jokes and have fun, and I kind of at least want on Sundays, because it's not in my nature to do that. I want to talk to the finer print and like ask him like I have 50 times, how do Jews handle fucking suicide bombers day in and day out, sit in lawn chairs and what? And I mean Israeli Jews, and watch, watch the missiles come over. They're getting shot down. How do they handle that? You never hear one of them doing that.
Did you see the missile defense system in action? What do they call it? The Iron Curtains.
Iron Dome. Iron Dome.
Iron Dome. Yes.
Yeah,
Dude,
and
I
how do
want
they
to know is what's the
how do
best,
they get in action?
what's the
Okay,
best
so there we go.
food
Look, I already did it. So
that's not
Caracol,
on the menu.
do me this favor, because I just did it. I sparked more talk. So any questions for Israeli brother right here? And let's wrap this thing up, boys, because as soon as we're done wrapping it up, we're going to music, man. We're going to talk about music for a little bit.
Mine's a pretty straightforward question. Did you see the Iron Dome in action while you were there?
Did I personally see it? No. A couple of friends of mine actually went there when it was at the height of the missile attack, and they shot some video, and it was actually pretty cool. You know, you can see it happening in action, and it's actually pretty it's pretty scary to be there from what they told me. I haven't actually personally been there, so yeah.
Adam Scuds are like trying to hit a fucking quarter from a yard away while you're pissing, man. Yeah. So yes, I'm sure it's scary, but it's funny to hear somebody. It's funny to hear somebody with the same blood in their veins as mine that's lived in Israel say, you know, it's kind of scary, but anyway, that's what I mean. If we could all be a little more Jewish, Israeli, let me say that, not Jewish, because there's millions of us Jews, but there's not many Israelis, 7 million, I believe. If we could all be a little more Israeli, daggone it, would the world be a fucking better place or what? I could even say a little more Boer, because the Boers are the same. They live in a place surrounded by everybody that wanted to fucking kill them, left, right, and center, and they still got this good attitude. If we could all be a little more Boer, the world would be a fucking better place.
That's a pretty big compliment coming from you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so do I.
Yes.
I just want to point out something, Ogre. The last time you asked me that question and I ducked out when I answered, I think I kind of pissed off Natchy.
Oh man, I ducked out hardcore. I've said it 3 times. So listen, I hear a crackle, and I'm either going to have Conscious Caracal or the Finer Print go through and find the crackle. So if you're crackling or echoing, please mute yourself, man, because when you get muted by somebody, it always feels bad. So do it yourselves, police yourselves. If not, Caracal and Finer Print will do that to you. So here we go. It is amazing to me that there are a certain amount of people in the world that deal with the most extreme type of discrimination, that are, in any kind of human logic, the most downtrodden and tiniest group one could imagine. And that is my blood brothers, the Israelis. They wake up every day, the 7 million, 8 at top, I believe it's 7 million of them that wake up every day in that country, know that everybody around them, but the only story that I've ever gotten from the Finer Print wasn't about other things that I can't put any, I'm not going to put anything on you, but I imagine you have other stories too that you may never share with us. There may have been some bad things. There may never have been a bad thing. But the thing that he decides to share with us, knowing about the Iron Dome, knowing about Gaza, the West, knowing about the Golan Heights, when 300 Jewish tank commanders faced off 1,200 Russian tanks and the Arabs that drove them with night vision and the whole 9. If you don't know about the Golan Heights battle, the tank battle in the Golan Heights, please go check it out. I know these things, not because I'm a wise guru or anything like that, because I'm Jewish. I studied up on I know these things. But go check that out, and you'll see how this downtrodden, prejudiced group that is so prejudged by everyone around them, that who would see, will they see as you have the fun? And this is the cap on this, so I don't even really want any follow-ups on this. We're gonna go on to music and fun. But the Finer Print, I wonder, would I hear the same stories of joy and kindness from a Muslim in this country? Because I believe, I'll give a disclaimer to him with respect, because I believe, unlike the Nation of Islam right now, the black Islamics that live here, that follow the Quran and everything else, they haven't had a reformation. They believe, let me go back, let me backpedal. Not that they haven't had a reformation, because that would be all of Islam. They haven't had nationally in my country, I believe in RPR and Cass S's country, they haven't had an awakening that let them see they don't have to hate the people that are now giving them aid and succor, that have now drawn them into the grand familial embrace of a brother, a sister, a cousin, a mother, a father, that they've now been accepted as family. And even though I may not agree with what my family member does and says, RPR was just nursing one of my family members that we won't go too deep in right now. I believe a couple, I don't know, I think maybe him and one other here on the panel were recently doing things that I personally, but it's one grand embrace. Can't we learn, like the Finer Print has demonstrated, that we should remember the good? We should remember the time when a Muslim brother came and embraced us and said, hey, today, I'm not so happy to be a Muslim. I wish that we looked at folks differently than we do. And if a brother Muslim does not do that, folks, I would humbly ask now at the close of this heavy topic that my advice is to shame that person, as I said when they stabbed the man in Flint just a few days ago. It's very clear about it. So look, I'll ramble on, folks. I'll ramble on and on. So I'm going to start this out. I'm going to start it out with RPR because I started to question him. Right now, we're going to shift Conscious Caracal. I think you'll dig this as much as the political stuff. You are like Zune Politicon, Caracal. You are a political animal. And if you should talk her into doing a stream with you, mate. Zune Politicon. What the hell's her fucking name? He's not here either. But Review the Earth can't tell me. She sent me a card. I should blah 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 blah. Going on and on because I can't. We no more talk about the bad, folks. It's over. I think we had some really good. Everyone had some good things that they said, even if that thing they said was rooted in something bad that was going on. We all had good ideas, but it's time to put that to bed. So boom, RPR. If you had, I was asked this yesterday on Staggerson Jags channel by Mole. If you had one kind of music to listen to, only one type genre of music to listen to, what would it be? And please tell us why, sir.
It would have to be. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me because I've changed headsets.
You're perfect.
Music, if I was left down to that, it would have to be classical music. Baroque period, because it just demonstrates movement. And that's it, basically.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Well, I'm going to go on down the line then. I would give you at least like, so when you say because it demonstrates movements, so in other words, you like the emotional feeling that the classical end of music gives you?
And, you know, it's so well structured.
I heard you. They heard you too. When you say Baroque, and would you please say that so everyone else that listens to this in the future would understand what you meant by that?
Baroque period of classical music basically is 17th, 18th century. And it's so well orchestrated. Even if you modern day music, it comes out very, very well. It's magical.
All right, perfect. I know you're a man of few words, so I ain't going to press you too much. I'll come back to you, RPR, the next question. So, Conscious Caracal, same question. I'll just keep binging on down the line.
Definitely South African punk music of the early 2000s. Folk of Polisikar, Funko Cartel, all those names. But yeah, I'm pretty nostalgically linked and attached to that genre in general. So yeah, I can listen to that all day.
Well, now you got to tell us why.
Well, because of the lyrics, definitely the messages and the themes that they touched on. For the first time in South Africa, well, Afrikaans history, we actually had popular music that, well, widely listened to artists actually criticizing the culture and making critical points on things that we can improve on and things that we certain aspects in which we are pretty backwards still on things departments where we need to improve, and I think that's what our culture needed. So I pretty much, when I heard it for the first time, I fell in love with the genre. So I have a very strong connection with it, to the messages that contained within the genre. So I could analyze and listen to that almost on a daily basis, definitely.
All right, groovy.
I'll maybe put a link in the side chat so you can.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. If you could give me your two favorites, because I'll do them on my other channel, and if I can do it on this without a copyright slam, I'll play it for an intro one day, man. I would love to hear, because I was a straight edge punk guy. Not that I was a straight edge punk, and I'll get into mine at the end here. So excellent, Caracal, as always, man. Look, I ain't gonna kiss your ass. You're okay. I was just probably say a bunch of nice things, but you already know how I feel about it. So Cass S, man, same question to you, man, and why? In 5, 4, 3, Cass S, 2, 1. You are going to the. Oh, what if you had one genre of music that you could only listen to that genre? In other words, that could be pretty wide in a genre. What would it be, and why would it be that? What does it do for you?
I'll tell you something. A very wise man, very wise musician once said, he was asked by a journalist from a musical paper, and said, "Mr. Grant, what is your music? What style do you call your music?" And he very simply said, "Just file it under rock." So I'll go with him.
All right. So rock and roll, and that is a very wide genre. That could almost include blues. So why would that be, Rob? Because of that quote?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the musician was Eddie Grant.
Eddie Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy. Well, that's great. That was nice and concise. We'll see if we can keep it going. I got a couple more questions. And if anybody else has something for the panel or a discussion on music and its impact on humanity, we'll go with that. So, Staggerson, I know you're next in line here as I look, but I'm going to keep you for last. So, a straight Sith male, same question. And why? Straight Sith male.
He's on mute. He's muted. He's got to be unmuted.
In 5, straight Sith male. 3, 2, and we're going to the finer print. Same question and why, finer print?
I'm going to have to throw the horns up. Give me some heavy metal every day. The reason being, yep, that's right. The reason being is that it's one of the first music genres that I got introduced to that really blew my mind from, sheer technicality, but also feel and how it resonates if you're listening to Sabbath or Megadeth, if you're listening to Hocus Pocus, if you're listening to any metal outfit, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, you just name them. They managed to take a genre of music and meld it together with other genres of music that just unbelievable, and its sustainability over the years has just been incredible. If you look at Black Sabbath, they started out in the 60s.
Give us a link or two of some of your favorite songs in the side chat now while someone else answers after you.
Yep, sure. And actually, I have to go because I have to go and start dinner. I'm culturally appropriating some sweet and sour chicken tonight.
Oh, man, thanks for sticking around for the first question. We'll be rolling on for at least another hour. So if you get a chance to swing in, if we're still here, swing in, and the chat will be here. Finer print, that you were one of the people that helped one of my family members. Shalom, sir.
Shalom, shalom.
What a great guy. So, I'm going to go with the same questions, and thanks for keeping them nice and tight, because I got a couple more, man, that have to do with music, because how more eclectic can it get than we have right here in front of us? We have a very wide range. So, ZK, same question if you're there, brother. ZK, the Fox icon.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a time I haven't been completely addicted to metal. It was my dad told me Rob Zombie, and ever since then, whatever playlist I've had has always been metal. I could have rap, country, music in general, but metal has been the only genre of music that has actually made me feel something.
Metal. So we had that's like the second, but when you say metal, give me like 2 examples of a metal band, a metal song.
Well, I'll go with the first ever metal song I've ever heard, which was Dragula by Rob Zombie. That was always the first one that has ever made me feel ecstatic and energetic and everything. And then now I can go up to say I'm not even sure. I guess you could even include Insane Clown Posse, if you will, as
I will, yes. Well, that's why I asked too, because I wanted people to see that heavy metal, as the finer print was saying, and metal, there are 2 different things, and you were just showing the wide range of that. So I think what's left is, are you there, straight Sith male? Because I want this from everybody, and then I got some really short. The next ones will be really short, and as it goes on, when it comes to you, you'll be able to answer very quickly. So straight Sith male, what would your genre be and why? Music,
I don't think he could figure out how to unmute himself.
Oh, did I mute him? Let me look. Maybe I can do it in the thing. So instead of counting him down, I'm gonna fucking do this. And it's straight Sith male. If this don't work, just pop out and pop back in. Are you there? No, it ain't doing nothing. Boom, I muted him. Muted him. There's nothing I can do. So anyway, I'm going to keep popping, man, because you know me, Staggy. I hate that fucking dead air. So I will go last, but mine will be very quickly. It's to you, Staggerson. What would it be if you could listen to only one thing, only one fucking genre, man, and why?
Well, I'm kind of stuck on 2, and they're both for the same reason, so I can name them both real quick and go get on to the rest of the answer. And it's 90s alternative as long as that includes White Zombie, and Irish American folk music. And the reasons for them are the same, more so with the 90s alternative, and that's that it's a pretty wide genre. One, I grew up with that music specifically for that type. I know all the songs. I love them all. They remind me of my childhood. And there's lots of different, you know, there's heavy stuff, there's slow, sad stuff, all that kind of different music. And the same with the Irish American folk music. That's something I've gotten into recently. Wide variety of feeling music, and it's just fun for me to sit there and sing along to. And it's simple music. It's not as complex as the heavy metal narrative, but it's relatable stuff. Oceans across pretty well.
That's badass. And since you just stole my thunder, I would go with 90s. I would call it pop, but I mean the same thing that he just was saying. And because when you say 90s, you can really include late 80s. I mean it too. I mean, if you listen to an alternative 90s, it's going from like 87-ish to 98-ish, because it really doesn't include 99, the new millennia. There might be a couple of 99, but by the new millennia,
by the time Slipknot came out, it was over. It was done.
Yeah,
Alice in Chains was done. Everybody was done.
Slipknot was probably.
Godsmack came in and they started playing them, which Godsmack's fine. I don't hate Godsmack.
But you're giving
White
it right.
Zombie changed to Rob Zombie.
Well, and here's the thing, you're giving it too, because like you look at Godsmack all the way back to, I would say, Tears for Fears, and we're still talking about the same genre that you brought up, which is the one that I love. It's a very eclectic, wide range. Yeah, so anyway, I think I got one more, man, on the music thing, and then I wouldn't mind just talking about music, or I'm going to fade out. It's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. But, you know, life is life. I have, in my mind, what I would consider my top 5 favorite songs, but that seems pretty long. So I'm going to ask, as I ramble just for about 30 seconds to give Conscious Caracal a chance to think. And then we'll go on, and it's usually easier as we go on. Caracal, that's why I'm usually picking on you first, because you know you're pretty good about right off the top of your head. So what are your top 3 songs in that genre? And if you don't dig songs, give me your top 3 artists in that genre. Caracal.
Yeah, so I already put two of my favorite songs in the side chat earlier on. But if I have to say artists, it would definitely be Fuck Off Policecar, which literally translates to Fuck Off Police Van. Funko Cartel, Francois Van Coke, FL. There's so many, but like, yeah, it's like I said, that's basically what I listened to while I was in high school, like that genre specifically. So it has a lot of like nostalgic power.
Excellent. And I've got it recorded, so I'll be able to listen to it like 50 times so I can understand exactly what he said. I do have the ones I put up, I liked them, so that I can check them out and see if I can play them up. So same thing, RPR. What's your 3 favorite tunes? And man, for you, this should be good.
Well, my 3 favorite tunes from all areas would have to be Melody to the Victims of Hiroshima. Oh, Christ.
Easy now, mate, because I really heard that, but say it very easy and so all Yanks can understand you.
It's a piece of music. It's a modern classical. Well, I say modern, as in it was in the 70s. And it's called Threnody to the Victims of Hiroshima.
Threnody.
Threnody to the Victims of Hiroshima, yes.
Okay, there you go. That's number 1.
Number 1. Number 2 would be Movement. Everyone loves that. And 3rd would be Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark.
And you consider Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark and classical. That's pretty badass. I wouldn't even disagree with you on that.
Maiden write their music. It's not your basic layouts. There are several hundred changes goes on which blend in perfectly, and that's one of the reasons why I like Maiden.
Well, badass. I can't stay on you all night, man. I'm gonna get done with this because I love this shit. People will watch this. It's just cool, man. I don't know why. Cass S, do you have 3? What's your 3 favorite? And I believe, what did you say? Rock and roll, didn't you, sir? What's your 3 favorite rock and roll tunes?
Tunes is impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really tough one. Don't think I don't know it, man. That's why I narrowed it down from 5 to 3.
Let's go with clones. Let's go with Bat Out of Hell, Meatloaf. I'm trying to think of Stone Roses tune, but which one? Let's go with Waterfall, Stone Roses. Crumbs. Let's go with the Beatles and Obla Di Blada.
Oh man, that's great. And remember too, I should have told you to begin with. You could also have just said your 3 favorite artists in that genre. I guess I was a little tough on you, but those were 3 good. Those were 3 good picks. I could listen to those 3 songs if those were. I really could. So I'm gonna save Staggy for last again. Straight Sith Mail. What's your favorite out of you? Did you tell us your genre? We had some issues. Is he back? And if not, go ahead, ZK.
I think he's still got his microphone muted. But I guess 3 artists or songs, I'd have to say Metallica because of Enter Sandman, because it's just constantly going through my head. Spit It Out because that was the first ever like heavy metal song I've heard, and it was first time I've ever had a connection with my brother. And I guess finally would have to be Rush's Closer to the Heart, just because it's just a classic.
Wow, it's amazing. You actually picked one from a band that I've got on my top 3 list, but great choices. I don't know what else to say. Staggy.
No, man. No matter how hard I try, I can't seem to narrow it down to just 3 songs. Dude, I would put a bullet in my head.
Remember, you can give me three artists also.
3 artists? Okay.
Yeah, or any combination. Man, I ain't trying to be. That's not a test.
Sublime, Bob Dylan, and Pink Floyd. I don't care if they're not in the same category or not. Hold me to these answers anyway. I do like Metallica a lot too.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
I can't nail it down like that, man. I can't pick favorites. It's hard.
Nobody's gonna nail me down either, because mine could change tomorrow. But right now, if I had to choose 3 songs, it'd be Tears for Fears, Head Over Heels, Depeche Mode, Enjoy the Silence, and I'm gonna have to say Rush, Subdivisions. I hate to use Rush. I was trying to work out another third, but then someone said another band that I already said. But fuck it, man. I just those are my 3. And I don't know why. I think this is what I believe, folks. That's why I wanted to get off the one topic onto another one by just shifting everybody's brain. I mean, what better way to do it than to just have you think of shit that you like about what I want to talk about? I've studied psychology for a while. Yeah. It doesn't always work, but nobody's thinking about whatever. I don't even remember what we were talking about. So I believe this. There was a time when Tipper Gore and the PMRC, they were in court, blah, blah. Blackie Lawless is a fucking Satanist and talks about sex, and, all these parental labels and whatnot come about. It was said by one side that Ozzy Osbourne's Suicide Solution caused somebody to kill themselves. It was said by the other side that music had absolutely no emotional impact on a human being. I believe that music, even though it should not be held accountable in any way because it can amplify your feelings, so I don't believe, like I said about the Suicide Solution, we go to many cases. That's bullshit. You can't hold somebody accountable. Thought someone had died. Sound like a dying calf in a hailstorm, RPR. But even though that's, I don't think they should. No, it's no problem. I just waited till the sound ended. But even though I don't believe that, just like satire, no one should be held accountable, I do believe that music is the purest and best expression of love, hatred, angst, joy, you name it. If you have the emotion, Because let me say it this way before I bounce off to whoever wants to speak to this topic of music and how it may have affected them in their life and what impact they believe music could have on human beings. Because what is a movie if you take the soundtrack out? Try it. A lot of tracks, a lot of CDs and Blu-rays you can just make it so it's nothing but the dialogue. You don't have a movie anymore.
Yeah, music is powerful. It's one of the only types of stimulus that can affect all areas of your brain at the same time. Stuck in your head. It certainly can affect people. I don't think it can cause anybody to do something, but it can certainly, like you said, amplify their emotions. And
oh, well, you don't think it could? So there. Okay, think of dun 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 bum 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 bum. You listen to In the Hall of the Mountain King, and you could just be sitting there in a neutral mood. You just woke up. You've got your first cup of coffee. If I pop In the Hall of the Mountain King on and crank it up through my PV system, you are going to feel something that you didn't feel. You see what I mean? I'm not going to say it will. Yes, it will make you feel things and do.
Yeah, but what I meant is it's not going to cause somebody to blow their brains out if they didn't already have that seed already growing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't.
Hell
think
yeah, I
that
know what you're
music
saying. I want to
is
hear
gonna
from
bring
everybody on
extreme
this.
behaviors out of people.
What I do is when I feel down, brother, I put on the Mountain Goats or the Moldy Peaches, some of the most depressing fucking music you'll ever hear in your life. And it makes me feel good, man, because my life ain't that bad. I don't know. So it does. I don't think it would cause someone that was just like la-di-da and a happy life to blue me, or somebody that was down and out to be happy. But man, I want to hear from everybody. I'll keep rambling on. Music is so powerful that I will say right now, as I just did, I'll say it very easily instead of, oh, it's the best form of expression. Music is the most powerful form of expression that human beings have come up with, period. Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I wonder if anybody else wants to jump in and say anything.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all muted, and I think maybe I lost them because we're not talking about politics anymore. But I refuse to, man. It's Sunday, and I'll end with this the whole deal of music. And I'm telling you, Staggy, I could talk about it for an hour because I give examples and case studies because music is what it is. There's a reason. Let's go this primal for humans. There's a laugh track for a reason. The Arrested Development. It didn't, man. It's got I love Arrested Development, the show. I don't know who's seen it, but it's got it, man. It didn't make it. There's no laugh track at all. Like show close-ups and stuff, but there is no. You got to know when to laugh, and it does take a certain amount. And music is that way. It's the laugh track of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think just like music is more so like the unknown. I guess it's the X in the equation of life, for lack of a better term. I guess it's the unknown variable. You don't know what's going to happen. It changes depending on the situation, I guess.
I don't know. I think music, essentially, the reason we like music is it tells us a story that we know we've been through, but someone's telling us it in a better way. That makes sense.
Yeah. I guess that's that's the right way to put it.
Well, guys, I think I'm going to opt out. Thanks for inviting me on again, Oga. It's always a pleasure joining you guys. Always a good quality panel you got here. So, cheers, guys. Have a nice chat without me.
Yeah, wonderful to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you, man. Come swing by my channel if you guys are interested in more of my content or want to just get in touch. I'm on Twitter as well. Cheers, guys.
Right, see ya.
Yeah.
Later, Conscious.
So I think everybody could agree that music's been probably a pretty big part of your life. I would wager to guess that most people, I've only met a few people that would ever claim that music wasn't a pretty big part of their life, and they seem like really weird folk. Weird. you know something's up.
Has there ever been a society that hasn't had music? Certainly no human society I can think of.
Right, exactly. I think one of the earliest pieces of writing they found a Sumerian song that was actually a recipe for beer. I read that somewhere. I don't know how true it is, but I say it.
Yeah, it's also there. Sorry, go on.
I was just noticed, like the places that have the least amount of, I guess, arts and entertainment, music, and all that, tend to be the most regressive of most, right?
Sure, and with any kind of societal reformation usually comes lots of arts and music and stuff like that with it.
And then you see, I guess, the best example would have to be Islam or the Islamic State, right? Where pretty much music is banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Taliban.
Yeah.
When the Taliban ruled Afghanistan, essentially what they did was they banned all musical instruments, music players, and dancing was banned, all sorts of things. So yeah, the only music they don't ban is the human voice. That's the only technical music that you're allowed into the Islamic law, essentially.
So they just need like the Islamic version of Footloose to go on, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But if you think back to it, you think back to all the kings, and in all countries really, certainly in European countries, music and poetry and musical instruments were all prized. If you were a king, you were expected to, be able to play a musical instrument. Like King Henry VIII, for example, he was supposed to be able to compose music. It was viewed as a very kingly act, very kingly thing to be musical.
Ogre, you got anything to add? Or is he out for a bit?
I think he's off.
We lost him.
Yeah, I think the ogre might be out of the building at the moment. But yeah, music, gotta admit, major influence on my life. Even outside of my favorites. Back in the 90s, 70s, Pink Floyd was a major influence on how my life turned out. For the worst.
Yeah, I think it can be. It can put you in one situation or the other. It's like the ogre was saying, but it can coerce you, but it's ultimately it's your responsibility. So it goes like that, doesn't it? I suppose.
Sure. And something you just said, RPR, that I was thinking about. I think that arts and music can certainly glorify certain behaviors. As much as I didn't want to admit it when I was younger, when I look back, it's almost like when I watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for the first time, I just thought that looked fun. You know what I mean? And when I listened to all this music, when I listened to Pink Floyd and watched The Wall and saw, it almost romanticizes being all fucked up in it. I don't know if that made me want to do a bunch of drugs, but it certainly didn't make me not want to.
Yeah, but the reverse side of that, especially with Pink Floyd's The Wall, if you go through a very fucking bad patch in your life, you do not want to be listening to that music, because you will not come out the other side of it if you fucking take it too much to heart.
For sure, yeah, because that does not have a happy ending at all.
I love sad music when I'm sad.
See, I don't. I'm the exact opposite. I don't like to listen to sad music when I'm sad. I need to listen to something that keeps me upbeat and happy. But I actually have problems with depression and bipolar stuff, and so I try to keep myself level.
Well, the cool thing about depression and feeling bad is that it makes your days seem longer. And doesn't everybody want to live for a long time? So whatever would make your days, I like boredom. You know, it might
Go to jail, man. That's the place you want to be then.
No. Yeah, I would stop short of incarceration. But self-incarceration or self-oysterment to a certain degree, I mean, that's what I find, you know, I like that. I like my days to pass by unchecked and unnumbered, man. You know, like just a lazy link one to the other with a nice nap in between. And I like sad music, especially when I don't feel good. And that's weird but I will say this, Cass S is not wrong. I believe he's the one that said it. It doesn't usually end good for people that are like prone to doing bad things to themselves or something, which I'm not. You know, like I said, I'm the kind of person that if Big Red Clinton Cox was still here, he'd say, I embrace the suck. I love the suck. Fuck it. Life's the suck.
Well, on that note, I think I got to dip out of here. I got to get back to work on these videos. I'm going to get
all right, I'll be looking for
two videos out in the next couple of days.
Too. I had to go out and check on some chickens. I got stuff to do, man. It's Sunday and this is fun, but got to split. I got to talk to RPR just for a second. Got to get some other shit done for him by tomorrow, which means my old lady's going to hate me. I set the drum set up in a different place. I actually redid the whole rumpus today. I had everything in this room, which even though it seems whatever it might seem small or whatever, there's a bunch of shit in here. And everything on my desk, it was all just my desk was utter hell. And you can see it's very clean now and just like a weed tray down there. But man, I redid all that
thanks for having me on. Nice to meet all you fellas. And I'm going to click this whole hang up button right now. Talk to you later, Ogre.
Yeah, piss off, man. Have a great one. Thanks, Staggy. What a great guy. Yeah, I'm going to split too, because all the stuff that I did in this, man, I do have some other things. And when I say embrace the boredom, so before I go on my diatribe and end it, thanks for showing up, folks. Does anybody else have something to say?
No, just say that it's a great stream, and I'll be shooting off as well, and I'll probably see you Monday, hopefully.
Yeah, God willing, I'll see you Monday, brother. Have a great one. Thanks for showing up.
See you guys.
I guess the only thing I have to say is don't let somebody else dictate your life for you. Right?
Solid advice.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you around, Ogre.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming by. Finally, to have you on the show. It's been wonderful, man. We'd have to have you by some Monday evening when we got some big guest on. You have a good time. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, totally. All right. See you guys later. Peace.
All right, brother. And unless you got something, RPR, just give me like 3 minutes here, and I'll get off. And I'm just gonna finalize some things with you. And I kind of hope that you can do something easy for me. I'll ask you off air. But listen, folks, of all the things we spoke of today, I think the best of it was music. Whether it makes you happy or sad, emotions aren't a bad thing. If you're happy, be happy and embrace it. If you're sad, be sad and embrace it. Know that joy, anger, vengeance, all of these things that we feel will come and go. You'll never want vengeance forever. I don't care what someone's done to you or to someone you love. You'll never be happy forever. I don't care what good thing has came your way. It will always change. So whatever that thing is, whether it's, I mean, we talked about loving your country and things changing in your country that weren't always for the good, whatever it may be, in that thing, try to be content. Don't try to be content, because as Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. So be content. Be content, especially when you're happy and when things seem to be going so good that they'll never change, because that, my dear friends, is when the danger sets in. That is when all that you love is at risk, when you feel nothing could go wrong and only fortune befalls you. So listen, folks, you know what I'm going to say, right? Be good to your friends. Be good to your family members. Be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so huge, you'll never be able to forget about it. Because, constant viewers, at a time you think not, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, all you hold dear and your beloved island, my fellow Britishers, will depart from you. Hey, Sydney Rough Diamond, man. Hope you ain't dead.